Hey everybody, how are ya? How the fuck are ya? Oh, I got in trouble last time I opened up with the curse words, so I guess I gotta keep the curse words down. Let's get this party rolling. This podcast is sponsored by Choke Aloha. Get your aloha out while you're choking people. Get 10% off when you use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio at chokealoha.com. I actually just picked up a Shaka tee, the Rasta Shaka tee finally, along with some patches because I got to update the patch game on one of my gis. In case you haven't checked out Choke Aloha yet, you're screwing up because they got some dope deals going on. They had some cool stuff for Black Friday, and I know they are running out on certain items like the awesome hoodie that they have out. So go ahead and check out chokealoha.com. Use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio when you're checking out. Get 10% off. This podcast is also sponsored by Jiu-Jitsu Soap Company. I got another order in the other day of the collab soap they put together of the mango, which is fucking amazing. Get 10% off when you use the promo code JJ Radio. That's the letters JJ and Radio. For some new body washes, they have liquid body washes now. The Punch Drunk and Jiu-Jitsu Island, which smells terrific. So go ahead and check out Jiu-Jitsu Soap Company. They're also running out of their shirts. They're limited edition, so go ahead and pick them up. There's only a limited few left at Jiu-Jitsu Soap Company, so go check them out. Big shout out to Jiu-Jitsu Soap for all the support. An awesome new hat that I picked up. Nice little trucker hat with a leather patch up front. Pretty dope. Been getting a lot of compliments on it, so thank you guys very much for that hat. And this podcast is also brought to you by XO Audio. Step your audio game up and pick up some wireless sound buds. They are noise canceling, lightweight, and sweat proof sound buds. You can just connect directly to your iPhone or Samsung if you rock a Samsung. Who uses a Samsung? Come on, man. It's 2017. Get with the times, homie. These sound buds are awesome. I use them at every single workout. The battery life is a good few hours. Doesn't take that long to charge them up. The charging pod is actually the same carrying case that you carry them with. All you got to do is press the buttons and boom, you're connected and you have amazing audio. I usually listen to most of my podcasts through that as well. The sound quality is amazing. You'd be surprised what you get out of those little guys. The bass is great. That's one of my favorite parts. The good part is too is that even though they're noise canceling, you can still hear the outside world. So if you're out there running, you're not going to get run over unless you do something really dumb. And make sure you pick up a removable battery pack that they have, because that thing has saved my ass plenty of times, like I said, and it connects right to your iPhone. It's great. It's got 2000 milliamps, I think, is the size of it, so you get a good charge or two out of it, unless you're just destroying your phone and leaving it on nonstop. It's pretty thin. It's about like the size of a credit card. So you're not going to have to worry about walking around with a giant power pack in your pocket like some of the other ones that I've seen out there. So go check out xoaudio.net. Use the promo code JJR10. Get 10% off your complete order. Now, with that being said, we're going to get this party rolling. I'm waiting for Shawn to finish his lunch. He just hooked me up with some lunch, and we're going to get this bitch started because there's a lot of things that I want to fill you guys in on. You are listening to Jiu-Jitsu Radio. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Alexis Terrosa, your host, and I'm here today with my homie, Shawn Gorilla Boy Ambrosino. Que pasa, kielbasa?
I'm not just a pretty face.
That's for sure.
I'm an actual gorilla.
Like, seriously.
Seriously. They
Hairy
literally just pulled me out of the jungle.
That's bad, though. You know that, like, gorillas have, like, the smallest penises. So.
No, I saw that. And it's not, and they're not wrong.
Well, then that kind of defeats the joke.
And they're not wrong.
That's funny as shit, man. So, okay, before we get anything started, there's a couple of things I want to throw out there. Number one, I want to say shout out to, actually speaking of monkeys, Monkey Tape. Monkey Sports Tape hooked me up. They don't sponsor this podcast, but they sent me a care package with a couple of different rolls of tape. And I mean, you look at my hand, I actually have some on it now because I fucked up my finger the other day. But hands down, the best sports tape that I have ever used. And I pretty much tested every single one under the sun. I was using another one because it was pretty close to what I wanted. But thanks to our good friend Leah over at Chocoloha, she forwarded me over to Monkey Tape, and they sent me those rolls, and I haven't looked back, man. I'm pretty much covered from head to toe with tape because I keep fucking up. So you guys want to check out some good tape, big thanks to Monkey Tape for the box to hook up. I gave one pair away actually to a friend of mine, Druva. He needed some, so I hooked him up, and he's loving it too. So big thank you to Monkey Tape. Now, off to the other stuff. Big things happening. Number one, my buddy Justin. I don't think you ever met Justin. I think you might have, but him and his wife Jill just had their baby yesterday. So big congratulations to them. They haven't picked a name yet.
Just like a dog, you don't give you should let their personality show before you pick a name.
Did you just compare my friend's firstborn son to a dog?
Any baby is the same as a dog. I don't think you should name the baby right away.
I think naming a baby is a little bit more nerve-wracking than naming a dog.
I don't know. How many dogs have you had?
A lot.
Yeah, isn't it hard to come up with a name?
No.
Yeah, well, because you know their personality. That's my argument. So now what they need to do, they just need to call this kid Baby until he starts showing a personality.
My suggestion was Aquaman the Rock Sabatez, because the last name is Sabatez. But I was going to go with Aquaman the Rock. I think that'd be a pretty good name. I don't think anybody would make fun of him.
I think everybody would make fun of him.
Not really.
Yeah, no, they would.
I like the new Aquaman looks pretty fucking dope.
Yeah,
Jason Momoa is going to crush it. Aquaman is a useless
think about
superhero
Aquaman
on paper. On paper.
Actually, that's the whole thing. So a couple years ago, well, when I say a couple, I mean like 20 years ago.
Yeah, like
20 years ago, DC and Marvel did a crossover.
Collab, right.
And Aquaman fought Submariner.
How'd that work out?
Aquaman won.
There you go. See?
He squished Submariner with a whale.
See? There you go.
He told the whale to jump on the Submariner. But what makes Aquaman strong, what people are like, what is he can talk to fish, so he swims in water. Yes, but his body's adapted. We're getting into comic books already.
Right.
His body is adapted to the depths of the ocean.
So he can go deep.
So he has to be stronger and denser in order to do that.
Yeah, and ladies like it deep. So
Yeah.
see? Aquaman, word up.
No, but
Aquaman the Rock. I'm still going to call him Aquaman the Rock just to piss off his wife.
Call him Aqua Socks.
Right? Number two, like obviously congratulations to Justin and Jill and the whole family. Congratulations to you guys. Number two, this morning I get an email from Fight Sports Magazine. And you guys know, like Shawn, you know, like I do a lot of fight photography. And I got an email a couple of months ago from Fighters Only magazine saying that they wanted a couple of photos. They already had photos that they wanted, they said, but just to check it out. So he wanted to see what I had for him. So I sent him some stuff, and that was it. That was the last I heard of it. And then this morning, get an email with the article. And if you guys check out my business Instagram, you'll see it. It's amazing on so many levels. And for me, it's actually not like, I wouldn't say like a goal. I don't know what word you would say, but it's
a milestone.
A milestone, yeah, exactly. It would definitely be a milestone for me because it's not a full circle thing, but basically they did this article on the UFC fighter Kamaru Usman, who should be higher ranked than what he is, but great article. Excuse me. And they used photos from me, but they also used photos from who I consider a mentor and a good friend of mine, Ryan Loco, who's hands down one of the best fight photographers and photographers in general in the world. He recently actually got credited as like one of the top like 30 photographers in the world to take photos with, kind of thing. So congratulations to him. But if anything, I tell people, everything that I have is because of jiu-jitsu. Everything that I get to do nowadays is 100% because of jiu-jitsu. But more so than that, everything that I've been able to do is in part thanks to Ryan Loco, because not only has he helped me out and given me tons of advice, but he is someone I consider a mentor and I look to on like a daily basis for just motivation to see how he does stuff and what he does, and just again, like the advice that he gives me. And it's constantly pushing me to get better and better and be more and more creative. So to see my photos next to him in an article in a magazine that's distributed worldwide is a big deal for me. So it's been kind of like a crazy day. So it's pretty nutty, man. It's fun. It's fun, but it's also like extremely humbling to see that. So yeah, it's been a pretty crazy week for me.
It's cool when you finally. I can tell you this: when I won the world championship,
dropping
it.
When I won the world championship.
No. Pardon me. I'm not supposed to do that in the microphone.
Yeah,
but
thanks.
Guess what? Fuck you. That's my name. Fuck you.
That's my name.
After I won the world championship, I was when I got in the car, I just looked out the window and didn't say a word.
Right.
And Tracy was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't know how to feel. Like everything was processed. It's like something awesome just happened, and I didn't know how to I was just kind of feeling that moment, I didn't want to talk about it. I was just it was like I was spent.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any words to say. I didn't have anything to do. I was just like, let's take me to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, and that's what we did.
Well, it's one of those things, like you work so hard towards something for so long, and you put your nose down to the grindstone, and you get so tunnel visioned out that when that moment that you were looking towards finally happens, you have no capability of really grasping it.
Yeah. It
takes a while. That's why a lot of people, they go into shock, but it does take some, you were there when I got my blue belt. That was 2 years in the making. Hold on, it's gonna make some noise. That was 2 years in the making. So when that happened, I had, and everybody's journey is different. We talk about it all the time. But when that happened, you were the only person there that saw it. I had no real ability to process it except the overwhelming just feeling of everything that I had to go through to get to that.
One of my favorite moments of that was, of this kind of feeling, was when Stipe Miocic.
Oh, when he won?
And he jumped out of...
I'm a champ.
I'm the world champ. I'm the world champ. That was such a pure moment. I loved it.
You know what's funny about that?
That made me a fan of him.
Well, see, that's what's funny is I was a fan of his from day one. And I can go back to my Twitter because I was following him for a long time before that he got even close to having a title shot. And I went back and forth with him. And I was like, Stipe Miocic is hands down one of my favorite fighters from now on. He's gonna be a champ, guaranteed. And I wrote that. It's on Twitter. You just go look for it. And then to see that happen, be like, called it. And the crazy part is that, a lot of people say that once you get to a certain level, you have to quit everything and focus on that. But he manages to be, he's a paramedic or a firefighter?
Something like that.
He's a paramedic. And then still be able to train to be a world champion. That's work ethic, and it shows you how talented this guy is.
But you know what else it goes back to? Is how, yes, training is important, but what's more important, training or rest? And I don't mean rest as you
being
rest
lazy,
your body.
Yeah.
I mean getting out of that world. Sometimes it's good to be, I'm sure because with firefighters and stuff, they get those Kelly days, and the way their schedules are, they can make it so they can have a month off by taking a couple days vacation, switching a couple things. So I'm sure the month before a fight, he probably hooks that up.
For sure.
But to me, there's something more to be said of getting out of that life. You know what I'm saying? Just
I agree.
every other day, you're yes, you could train every day, but one day it's all balls out. This is all I'm going to do. I'm going to be, train like a world champion, and then the next day I'm going to go save a couple lives.
Yeah. I think it's different things. Like, number one, for sure, it helps you get a refreshed mind, because again, like, you're so focused on one goal, and then you get engraved into certain ways of approaching stuff. You get into that routine, and when you get into a routine, I feel a lot of times you lose creativity and you lose the grand view of the whole thing. So to sit there and be able to, like, you fight, you train, you do, like, you're drilling techniques over and over again, and you have so much stress of, like, you have to stay the champ, but then you go and you're like, you're literally holding somebody's life in your hand. I think that takes away a lot of pressure on the fight.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're not going to be as worried. It's like, okay, I could lose a world championship, compared to, okay, I could lose a life and it's on me. The belt you can always win back. Somebody's life you can't. So for me, I think it puts a completely different perspective.
You said that wrong. If anything, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey taught us that you can beat death if you choose the right game.
If you choose the right game, and if you have a killer guitar solo. I was actually jamming out to that soundtrack the other day, to Steve Vai, because Steve Vai did the soundtrack.
Oh, he did the soundtrack?
For that one. So, like, when you hear when like, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, he does the whole, he actually does all the bad guitar parts to that. So if you, like, when they're, like, screwing up, and it's like, you can hear it sounds okay, and then they start eating shit, that's him. And if you look at the articles, like, when he talks about it, he's like, writing the bad parts was so difficult. And he said the same thing for that movie Crossroads he did.
I remember that. The one about the blues.
Yeah, with the Karate Kid dude. What's his face? What the hell's
Ralph
his name?
Macchio?
Yeah, Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
So he says, like, writing the parts that are, like, completely full of mistakes where it's all wrong is more difficult for him than writing, like, super accurate, clean, like, flowing parts.
Well, I wouldn't even. I would think you wouldn't need to write it. I would just think you would have to fuck up.
It's physically hard for him because of the way he is. He got it. Like, do you know anything about Steve Vai?
I know he played guitar for Whitesnake.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Steve Vai got started. I want to say he went to Berklee School of Music, but he got started as the transcript writer for Frank Zappa. So, like, first of all, he was a student of Joe Satriani, and, like, Joe Satriani, obviously, is like a nut job fucking guitar player, one of my favorite. But he was a student of his, and from there, he went to go become a transcript writer for Frank Zappa. So basically what he would do is, Frank Zappa would go and, like, play all this music, do all this stuff, and it was Steve Vai's job to literally write down note for note every single part that Frank Zappa played. So, and Frank Zappa was,
like, during recordings or during concerts,
like, depending on what it is, but
why
mostly
would he
for the
need
recordings.
To transcribe?
Well, because you make books and stuff like that. But, like, Frank Zappa was just a full-on composer, but Steve Vai wrote the transcriptions for it. And Frank Zappa was notorious. He was the Stanley Kubrick of guitar playing.
Yeah.
He was notorious for everything has to be exactly the way that he wants it to be.
Frank Zappa.
Yeah, Frank Zappa. And Steve Vai is pretty much the same. Obviously, he was, like, his student too. So, like, you hear him say that about writing on the stuff for Crossroads. He's like, because it's his hands. If you watch the movie, it's his hands playing it. So it's pretty funny to watch, like, Ralph Macchio fuck up. But
he sold his soul to the devil in that movie, right? Or
it's a play. Yeah, he was playing the devil in that. But that's the whole story of Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a play on that, because Ralph Macchio wanted to fucking play blues, but he was studying classical guitar, and he was, like, shunned for playing blues while he was training to be a classical guitarist.
Blues is a magical music. I think it's one of those styles to me that once you hear it, you can. It's one of those music styles that any culture or any kind of background, you can feel blues.
It is the basis of
rock and roll.
Well, rock and roll and the majority of the songwriting that you hear, like, blues really evolved from African music. There's a certain structure. There's a lot of different styles of blues. So it really comes...
I'm talking like the traditional
You're talking
Southern...
about 12-bar blues. So even if you're talking about Delta, like blues or Mississippi blues, all the different styles from the different parts, it's based off of what's called a 12-bar blues. So this is that progression you hear all the time. Think of
don't.
Yeah. What's Born to Be Wild, or what's the other one that he did? I'm trying to think of like a song that everybody would hear. Like LaGrange, ZZ Top, LaGrange.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's ZZ Top. Every single song is 12-bar blues. They'll throw in breaks, but every single song is 12-bar blues. It's exactly the same way. You don't break that mold, it fucking works. That's what they play. Stevie Ray Vaughan, 12-bar blues. Unless you get into songs like Lenny and things like that, where he's kind of like freestyling, but that's all that is. It's super basic, but because you have that basic form, you can take off. You know,
yeah,
same with jazz.
It's weird how that formula works.
Yeah,
in so many different ways.
Yeah,
like how long has blues been around? The conventional
blues that has been
like
around
the teens, the 19 teens, maybe the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So early 1900s.
Yeah.
So that music style has lasted.
And it's still
over 100 years.
Yeah.
Now I know we're talking about music on a jiu-jitsu.
Oh, whatever. You know how it is. Well, I'm the one that went to school for music. So.
Yeah. So, but how many think about the musical styles that have come and gone. Like punk is there.
Oh,
but
there's so many that you don't even know. There's so many that you've never even heard of.
Like things have just changed. Like musical styles have changed. Like, but blues still resonates whenever you hear it. Whenever you hear a good blues riff, whenever even the what is it, the Fabulous Thunderbirds?
Yeah.
Even when
Yeah, that's Jimmy Vaughn.
Is that Jimmy Vaughn?
Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother is in the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Yeah.
But it's like that you can hear it and you know it immediately.
It comes down to like the development of how music evolved when it comes to that. It's like it's all African roots, even jazz. Jazz, like there is blues and jazz. Like Miles Davis is blues. Like if you listen like a Birth of the Cool and stuff like that, it's like it's all blues. It's the same kind of format. It's like what is it? AAB, AC or something like that. I forget what it is. But basically you have the melody, the chorus, and then like melody, chorus, solo. So like it has the structure. Now there's the best person I think to describe that is fuck man, I can't think of names for shit today. Bobby McFerrin.
Oh yeah. He's a doctor, right?
He's a doctor. I don't know where he's teaching now, but he used to teach at UM.
He doesn't sing or he does sing, but he will never do "Don't Worry, Be Happy" is what I hear.
Oh, he fucking hates that song. He hates that song because artistically he's so much better. But if you listen to the song, you don't realize that's all him. There's no instruments.
Right, that's all his.
It's all his voice. It's all a cappella. He does a really cool demonstration on where our brain is wired to automatically respond to the Eastern chromatic scale Western chromatic scale compared to like Eastern music like China, Japan, things like that. So what he does is, and this is, mind you, in almost like a TED Talk with neurosurgeons and just brain doctors, like full on brain surgeons. And he just stands up in front of everybody. He's like, I'm going to give you 2 pitches. You got to sing the rest. But you have to go corresponding to where I'm physically standing on stage. So he stood in the middle of the stage, and he goes, repeat after me. He does the pitch. It's like, and then he takes like a little step to the right, and then he gives the second pitch, and then he goes back to the first. So you hear the crowd like, bah, 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 and then he goes further, and they automatically go up. Then he goes up further and you go up even more. Perfect tone, like to the tone. Even granted, like you're tone deaf, you're gonna match everybody else. And he basically jumps back and forth on a melody, and he shows, he's like, that's it. It's because it's already engraved. This is how our brain waves respond to it. To the point where like the brain surgeons it's on YouTube, check it out. Like, but you see like all the surgeons like, do you want a degree? Like, because that just totally blows their mind. But our brains are responding to that, but it does come down to where you were raised and what your culture is.
Well, So, to get even a little bit deeper, sound waves are what hold the universe together.
Yeah, well, that's where you
That's the theory of what holds atoms together is sound waves.
Well, I wouldn't say sound waves as much as I would say frequency waves.
Well, yeah.
I know what you mean, but like just
yeah.
to be specific, but that's why like in Buddhist like religious Om, like when people say Om, that is the like even the Om symbol,
it's
that's
sacred.
Well, no, that's the frequency that they believe the universe puts out. So when you say Om, that's the frequency of the universe. Om is the universal frequency like that physical universe puts out. That's what they use it in meditation.
And if you believe in God, you know, which
some
I do,
but right?
Whatever. If you believe in God, this is what's kind of trippy is when it started with him speaking the word.
Where it's like
the sound was the
boom.
was the first thing. There wasn't.
Well, it's
there was
the voice
nothing,
of God that
and it was
created the Big Bang, like the creation.
Everything is based off of sound and frequency.
Here's what I'll tell you for me, because I dedicated my whole life to music, and I put it out there, told a couple of people, but I always kept this mostly to myself, and it's one of the reasons why I was really drawn to capoeira when I first started like doing martial arts. Is to me, music is life. And by saying music is life, people say, oh, music is life, I got to go to concerts. Like, no, for me, for myself, music is the epitome of life, is the actual creation of life, because everything goes to a rhythm. Everything goes to a rhythm. Your heartbeat moves to a rhythm. Your car moves to a rhythm. Your computer, your watch, everything moves to a rhythm. It can speed up. It can slow down. It can be super fast. It could be super slow. But the second that rhythm stops, the music stops, you're dead. So the same way that when your body stops, your heart starts pumping, the energy stops flowing in your body, like that's when your life ends. So for me, it's a scale up of overgeneralized words. It's the universe is a beat, which is a rhythm, which is music. So for me, that's why I say, to me, music is life, which is why I sacrifice so much of my life and so many relationships to music, because that's what I expressed myself with.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets in life is not knowing how to play an instrument.
But you said you wanted to start playing drums.
I do. I want to start playing
So
drums.
start.
I know. I will.
I'll start a band with you.
But I don't know if I want to play drums or piano. I took piano when I was a kid. I took a year of lessons.
Yeah.
And but I learned how to read music. I don't remember, but I'm sure it won't take me long. I mean, I remember the scales, and I remember how
right.
each. But and they also say that kids that know music are smarter. Like if you take a kid that does like if you could teach a kid an instrument when they're younger, and they can read music. Not just play music, but read music, they're actually smarter for it.
That, I know what you mean. It used to be that...
but then again, mostly Asian kids that used to play violin or whatever.
Well, no, like what you're saying is, what it used to be like, I want to say in the 80s, like 80s and 90s, like they made a push of saying that kids that were doing music were automatically better at math. So that was like the big thing. Turned out to be bullshit. It was just like a PR scheme that people were trying to use to make sure that music stayed in school, that the arts stayed in school. It's like, oh, they're more... The real explanation is, for the way that I see it, is that if you pick up music at an earlier age, I think you are emotionally smarter, because you learn how to express yourself in some form or facet. Because there's a lot of people, like, for me, I might have difficulty emotionally explaining myself like through words, but I can do it through music, no problem. And there's tons of people you see that like a kid might be, even they might be autistic or something. They can't talk properly. They can't express themselves properly. But you give them a guitar and they'll play songs that'll make you cry,
right?
Or they make you happy, or whatever it is. So yes, in a way, you're right, but not in a textbook way.
No, not in a textbook way. I'm thinking my version is, because I think there's something to do with when you're able to read music, it gives you a spatial recognition.
Right.
For what, so if this note is here, then the next note should be here. It gives you, I think it forms the logical part of your brain better than...
Again, it comes down to what our brains are wired to respond to. That's why you get, composers like, was it Mozart or Beethoven that was like amazing when they were like a kid? Because they could write stuff. He would literally go on and improvise on the spot. And he would create entire like sonatas and compositions.
I think it was Beethoven.
Right.
He was the deaf one, right?
I want to say yeah.
Yeah.
So he became deaf.
Right.
But again, he would sit there and put his, like, when he got
he was
older.
One of the original Bill and Ted's.
Yeah.
So that's how he was the one that was a prodigy.
Yeah. He would literally, like, his father would drill him. They sent him off to whatchamacallit, like a conservatory kind of thing. And they would drill him into writing pieces. And he was writing pieces when he was a kid. But he would literally just sit down and be like, oh, good, done. Like, and it would be the greatest song you ever fucking heard. Because it was so engraved. And classical music is a whole different animal. It's a whole different animal, man. Like,
Beethoven's got one of my favorite disses of all time.
Oh, from Bill and Ted?
No. Like in real life.
Why?
I'm pretty sure it was Beethoven. I could be misquoting. But I heard a story about how Beethoven, one of his contemporaries, tried to write a piece and said it's his greatest piece ever or whatever, and gave it to Beethoven, took it at a party and flipped it upside down and played it, and it sounded... I don't remember.
No, I think I want to say it was Mozart, because it was in the movie Amadeus. There was like a really famous composer. He was like playing something, and he was like, "Oh, that sounds good, but I think this is what you're trying to play." And he made something completely better and just completely ridiculed the guy. That's the story that I remember. I think you're at.
I'll have to look it up and
yeah.
Unfortunately, for the people who are listening to the podcast, you'll have to look it up too, because I don't know.
Classical music is a whole different world, like, all together, because you get into like the original like rock stars, like Paganini. Paganini was the original rock star. He didn't give a fuck. That man was out to play violin and fuck. Like, that's it. Like, just go and like look up his story. He 100%. There was a movie they made about him too. It's really kind of shittily made, but it's cool to see the story. He was a full-on rock star. He's like, when he was playing, it was so fast. Like, dude, he was like the original shredder.
Like the original Jerry Lee Lewis?
Dude, no, not even. He was like the original Eddie Van Halen, because he started playing. People like he would tap. I'm pretty sure he would tap and do all this other stuff. People like, the fuck is this guy doing?
On guitar?
No, violin.
Violin.
Like, and even Van Halen technically is a ripoff, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, dude, go, like, people don't give like classical music enough credit, because it's that was...
Well, that's what you trained, is classical guitar.
I studied jazz guitar.
Jazz guitar.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to sit there, go back and play classical guitar, but it's so stuffy and it's so just proper.
You know, for years, I hated jazz.
I was the same way.
Could not stand jazz.
Yeah.
Still, up until I was 42, 43.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand. I hate Spiral Gyra.
Oh, that's
I
not
hate
jazz.
all
though.
that kind of stuff.
That's
but
not.
What changed my thinking on jazz was
Coltrane?
No. The movie about the drumming and the kid's a drummer for
that one movie we're talking about?
something back. What the hell is that?
That
called?
Thing You Do?
No. It's got
the one that was viral with like the teacher like being super strict.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I still haven't watched that.
Dude,
we were talking about it.
I love that movie, and
Yeah.
it won. What's his name? The guy that played the teacher.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name either, because we're off the top of my
He's
head.
in Law and Order, I think, at some point.
Well, he was also J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies, and he's been everything. But
Yeah.
Simmons, J.K. Simmons, won him an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh no, he's a great actor.
But dude, but the music, it was the music.
Yeah.
How it was just the final scene was incredible.
I still gotta watch that movie.
If you honestly,
haven't watched it.
It's critically acclaimed,
Yeah.
and it's not just my stupid ass saying, "Hey, go watch this cool movie."
Yeah.
But
You know what movie was really good, and they did like a really good job, like to the level of like the Ray Charles movie, was Andre 3000 doing Jimi Hendrix. The Jimi
I
Hendrix
saw
song.
bits and pieces of it.
That was really good.
I saw bits and pieces of that one day. He was like in a bar.
Yeah, he did like the whole movie. Okay, I'll take this back. The movie isn't amazing, but his representation of Jimi Hendrix was so like spot on. It's crazy.
And he's not a bad actor. He was in Get Shorty.
Yeah, he's great. He was like Get Shorty. You could tell he was trying to get some like acting chops, but he did good.
But
When
he
he's,
did
like,
good.
Yeah,
he
for
was
sure.
he was the
He was hilarious.
nephew or whatever.
He's like doing the fake laugh for like a minute when they're making fun of Travolta. Another good movie is Don Cheadle playing Miles Davis.
I never saw that.
Watch that movie. Look, Miles Davis is hands down one of my favorite musicians of all time. He was the king of I don't give a fuck. He did not give a fuck. When I tell you he doesn't give a fuck, he does not give a fuck. Right? This guy was so good from the beginning that he would go when he would play shows, he would cover his hand up with a napkin so other like musicians couldn't see what he was doing because they would try and bite his style from like day one. People would try and bite his style from day one, so he would cover his hand. And then the story that I heard through the grapevine, this was one of my teachers. He went to his house. This was like towards the end of like Miles Davis or whatever. He went to his house like in New York, and he walked in. And he said like he just had like a plate at the front door of just joints. Like there was just like people have candy jars. He had that with like weed just all over his house. So he was like sitting there grabbing joints or having talks. He's like, yeah, he was super cool. And then I commented on his painting. There was like a painting or whatever that he had made or whatever that was up on the wall. He's like, oh man, the painting's great. He's like, you like it? I made it. He's like, you can have it. Take it. So the guy's like, oh, okay. So whatever their meeting was about, they hung out. He went, got a cab. He's holding this painting. He sits down like in the cab with the painting. And right before he takes off, Miles Davis yanks the painting out of this fucking cab and he takes off. He's like, give me back my fucking painting, piece of shit.
Who's the famous drummer?
Which one?
Jazz drummer.
There's a couple. I mean, there's Chick Webb.
Nope, that's not the name.
Fuck.
This guy supposedly threw a cymbal at Miles Davis's head.
Oh, man. Fuck. I'm trying to think. Yeah, look it up. I can't think off the top of my head. Yeah, it's definitely not Webb.
It's a
Fuck, man.
Buddy Rich.
Buddy Rich. Yeah, that's Buddy
That's
Rich.
it.
He's fucking amazing. If you want to like, speaking of drummers, look up Chick Webb. That dude was fucking nuts, man. But yeah, Buddy Rich is a fucking amazing drummer.
Welcome to Jiu-Jitsu Radio.
Hey. Yeah, what you got? What are you looking them up?
Well, no, I'm going down the line. These are so I'm going to give you the top 10. So in order on Google.
According to Google,
Okay,
right?
Here's who they have. Number 1. But this is just famous drummers. It's not the best drummers.
Yeah.
Famous drummers. Number 1, Ringo Starr.
Fuck that.
Number 2, Buddy Rich.
Yep.
Number 3, John Bonham.
Oh God, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, everyone says he played like he was like the God of Thunder.
Yeah, no.
Like the original God of Thunder was John
If you
Bonham.
listen to, damn, what's the?
Like he hit so much
Was it Moby
harder.
Dick? Like Moby Dick, he's just fucking. There's no one else. Even look, I worked with his son, and like
Yeah.
even he can come nowhere near John Bonham.
Number 4, Neil Peart.
Oh God, yeah.
Number 5, Dave Grohl.
He's a good drummer.
Number 6, Travis Barker.
He's got a good punk style. He's a good drummer. He does play some jazz too, though.
Number 7, Keith Moon.
Yeah, he was the legit king of fucking crazy.
Number 8, Stuart Copeland from the Police.
Yeah.
Number 9, Phil Collins.
And
number 10
he's literally got one fill to his credit.
And number 10, Chad Smith. So
No, come on.
that's
Chad is a great drummer. Don't get me wrong, but
that's just the top 10. That's who
they don't
comes
even
up.
have. Well, what's his face? Nico. They don't have Animal from fucking Dream Theater. No, Dream Theater.
Muppets.
Yeah, Muppets.
Lars Ulrich.
No.
I mean, it keeps going.
Look,
Tommy Lee, Steve Gadd.
Metallica is my band, and I can't put Lars Ulrich in that.
They have Sheila E. on here. But funny thing about, since we're Stuart Copeland and the Police, is so Rockstar, Nintendo, or playing Rockstar. Dude, trying to play a Police song is so hard to play because they always have that offbeat.
You just wait. It's not hard. You're just wait, dude.
No.
You can't do reggae.
Well, but they did an extra offbeat. Like if you listen to Roxanne,
right?
Listen to the drums in the beginning. It's like it's a really offbeat.
That's because the album, the track you hear is sped up, so it's not the exact speed of what they played it at. So it throws you off. That's why. Same thing with the Doors. I want to say L.A. Woman. Like that whole album is sped up because they couldn't fit it onto vinyl. So like, well, you got to put it on a vinyl. So they sped up the entire album.
Oh, get out of town.
Yeah, you didn't know that shit.
No.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, I go deep on this shit. Like, there's tons of stuff like that you don't know about. Like, so when they re-released it a few years ago, they went to regular speed, and people are like, well, they fucked up on the mastering on this. Oh, like when you had a limited space.
So like L.A. I could just L.A. Woman.
Yeah. Think of Strawberry Fields, like the Beatles. That's all sped up. That's them playing with the tape. So that's why you notice the beginning is faster than the end. Like it's like the tape changing speed. It's all that. Even Jimi Hendrix on Are You Experienced? That's the way he figured that out. Like they were listening to the record. It was on tape behind him, and he was leaning back. And then he started pressing on the tape, and it started making a weird effect. He's like, what the fuck was that? And then he's like, he turns around, and like he realized he was pressing on the tape and slowing it down, and he did it. So he's like, oh, we got to fucking get that again. So he did it just by re-recording, like, while messing with the tape.
Consensus best album of all time. Not yours. What's the general public's consensus?
The best album of all time?
Yes.
Are we going by genre?
No, just overall.
I would give me three top. Like they're number ones. Like, but I have to give like three albums.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking the general public, John Q. Public. What is considered
Dark Side of the Moon?
Nope.
No, I'm telling you, Dark Side of the Moon.
No, I understand that's your take, but the general public. So,
if you tell me the number one best-selling album,
not selling, it was just the number one album of all time, just by popularity and all that stuff.
Right.
So I knew immediately because this was a question that was on Jeopardy a couple months ago. I was watching it with my grandmother, and we were going over Jeopardy, and I went with the so generally considered the best album of all time, this 1960 whatever release, and I immediately
Pet Sounds.
Nope.
Oh.
I immediately went Beatles.
No.
Well, it was Beatles.
What, the White Album?
Nope, it wasn't
Abbey
the White
Road.
Album. Nope, it wasn't Abbey Road.
What?
The consensus top album of all time is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Band.
Oh, yeah. I would disagree, though, because hands down, by record, Billboard longest standing selling album is Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, even more than Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I would think the White Album has more hits than
No.
Sgt. Pepper's.
You got to understand the historical meaning of Sgt. Pepper's, though. Like that album literally was the transition of the old Beatles into the new Beatles, and it like
Druggy Beatles, from the straight Beatles to the
right.
druggy Beatles.
Well, like you got to understand, like the Beatles are so huge because they meant so much to so many people, and they defined an entire lifetime of a generation of people. And they transitioned at the exact same time as everybody else, but by force. So when you get like Revolver, I'm surprised Revolver doesn't beat out Sgt. Pepper's. But If you listen to the Beatles, every single album is fucking amazing.
See, I couldn't stand the Beatles up until a couple of years ago.
If you listen,
I'm a Rolling Stones guy.
Again, I don't get me wrong. I was the same way. Like until I sat down. Like if you sit down and artistically, just open-minded, listen to the albums once, and then, from my aspect, listen to it again analytically as like a songwriter. It's absolutely insanely brilliant.
And none of them knew how to write music.
No, that's not true.
Or only Paul McCartney can't read music.
One
of them doesn't. I'm pretty sure it was Paul McCartney. He cannot
I wouldn't
read
be surprised.
music.
But it was a consistent battle between John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and they were constantly fighting, and that's why they're so good, because they were constantly fighting to become the better songwriter. It's like the whole story and how they became together. It's such a weird, like one of those universal just pieces that fit the puzzle
if you could pick
so
one
perfectly.
Beatles song, what would it be?
Um,
I'm torn between three.
what?
My three are Revolution, but not the slow version,
Right.
the fast version. Eleanor Rigby, I love that song.
Yeah.
And Hey Jude.
No, they're great songs.
Those are my three top.
All I need is one. If you gave me one Beatles song that I couldn't listen to any other Beatles song ever again, Across the Universe.
Yeah, that was my fourth. That's my alternate. Is Across the Universe.
Across the Universe has like so much just like spiritual meaning to me as far as the words and stuff. Even though you're just talking about a giant acid trip, but that song is fucking amazing. It's really almost like a full-on definition of how I perceive things. But yeah, those are all great songs. Hey Jude is great, and when you realize it, it's literally only 3 verses repeated a billion fucking times.
But it's just the opening.
Yeah.
Hey Jude.
Yeah. Help is such a great song.
Yep.
I get by with a little help from my friends. Like I'm telling you, man, they have like, you know how they built their style and stuff, right? They fucking worked for like a year every night playing songs in like a strip club in Germany. That's how they like developed their like style.
I did read up on the how they got rid of the first drummer.
Oh, the guy that was only either the first drummer or the transition drummer.
No, the first drummer. The guy that was like with them in the beginning for up until they recorded their first album.
Yeah.
And I think he recorded the album.
I don't know.
But they fired him. And one of the reasons I heard they fired him was because he was the one getting all of the press. Because they were kind of all goofy looking, and he was like the only halfway decent looking guy.
Right.
And I was like, that would suck.
No, what sucks is the guy that was the transition drummer. You know his story.
No.
There's a famous photo of this fucking guy. I feel so bad for him. But between the two drummers, they had this one guy he was a great drummer, but they flew him in. I want to say he only did like 13 shows or something like that, or he was with them literally for only like a week. So there's a photo of him like by himself in an empty fucking like airport, just waiting for his flight to go back home because he was in the Beatles just for that little bit of time. And I think it was like, it had to be either right before they blew up or like in the midst of the beginning of blowing up. But can you imagine like you were just part of the Beatles and then it's fucking gone?
Okay, if you go back to the 70s and be a part of one band.
70s? I always fuck up on when it comes to dates, like as what generation or what bands.
Like the heyday, the beginning of the real rock and roll movement. Even though it started in the 60s, yes, I get that, but like...
Let me see, like, because I want to be accurate on the time frame. Let me look up 70s bands, because I always fuck up between 70s, 80s, and 60s.
So, even though they started in the 60s, they got... So, like, you have Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Aerosmith. Pink Floyd.
Was the band... Yeah, I guess Pink Floyd was 70s more than 60s. Yeah.
Most of these guys.
Well, I figured you'd say the Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, yeah.
I mean, look, here's a list. You got Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Pink Floyd, The Who, Fleetwood Mac, Aerosmith, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Ramones, Bee Gees. I would rock the Bee Gees. No, I'd be a pretty dope fourth Bee Gee. Eagles, Sex Pistols.
Fucking hate the Eagles, man.
ZZ Top, Allman Brothers, The Clash, Doobie Brothers, Grateful Dead, Blue Oyster Cult, Earth, Wind and Fire. Okay, here's my answer to you. 100% Queen.
Queen. That's a great answer.
I would say Queen. Like,
mine's between two. Mine would be between Led Zeppelin. Because the whole,
it's so difficult, man.
Yeah, the other one, Kiss.
Yeah. Because that's what I'm saying.
Imagine being a member of Kiss.
Well, there's a lot of people that were.
Well, yeah.
Fucking Peter Criss going in and out. But man, like, there's if you knew even like a remote portion of small stories of everything that happened to each and every one of these bands, like, it would just blow your fucking mind. Like, you would want to be part of all of them. Because can you imagine being part of Led Zeppelin when they go to that fucking hotel on the water and they're making some lady bang a shark? Yeah. And they're riding motorcycles in the hallways?
Yeah. That's
pretty fucking rock and roll to me, man. I'd be down for that.
That's
like, or the Rolling Stones, where you're just pretty much doing whatever you want. Lynyrd Skynyrd, where you're running around, like, minus the plane crash.
Okay, let's put together one ultimate band.
An ultimate band? Oh, I'd crush it.
Like, out of everybody,
right?
Out of all the bands and singers and everybody.
Okay, but you have to narrow it down. Do you want like a classic rock, like a full-on rock band, like 70s style rock band?
Build your band around the singer.
Well, again, that's totally different, man, because I could have like 20 different bands like that.
I'm going to give you my two favorite singers of all time.
Okay.
One's a rock and roll singer.
Okay.
The other one's just my favorite singer of all time.
Okay.
So, favorite singer of all time. Otis Redding.
Okay.
Build a band around Otis Redding and his style. That 60s soul. And think about what...
It would be Otis Redding singing. It would be Bootsy Collins on bass.
Ooh.
It would be Jimi Hendrix on guitar. And the reason why I say that is because Jimi Hendrix was actually James Brown's guitar player. You don't know that?
Did not know that.
And I would say the drummer, that'd be tough, man, because there was a lot of good drummers back then, but I can't remember their names right now.
Well, it doesn't have to be back then. It can be of all time.
I would say... Fuck, I can't think of like names off the top of my head for drummers.
But just say the band that they were in.
Even then, like, I have like 20 different names off the top of my head.
See, honestly, with the technicality that you of the other band members, I would probably throw in Neil Peart.
No.
You don't think he could do?
I don't think Neil could do.
You know who could do that style? Ringo Starr.
No.
Very basic.
No, because it's funk, man. It's funk and R&B. You have to have a laid back dude. Oh, fucking hands down, Questlove. Questlove.
There you go.
Throw Questlove in there. Look, imaginary band. I just sold 1 million albums just with that. Guaranteed. I just sold 1 million albums. You'd be like, fuck, this band is fucking amazing. Questlove, hands down.
Yeah, that'd be a good mix.
There's not a fucking person in the world that tell me that band.
Would you put a piano guy in that?
If I put a piano guy, it would have to be, fuck, who would I put?
Somebody with a keytar.
Jelly Roll Morton. That's an old fucking, like, and I would do it just because he was a fucking perv, and he would sit there and just play the shit out of it. Or actually, no, you know what? Ray Charles. Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder with that? Tell me that's not a fucking dope-ass band.
That's a badass band right there.
Like, hands down, like, I guarantee you, if Questlove heard that list, he'd probably cry because he know it would never happen.
All right, that's my favorite singer of all time. That's a real solid band.
Okay.
See if you can beat it.
Okay.
Axl Rose is your singer.
Like, prime time Axl
Prime,
Rose.
these are all their.
But that's tough, man, because like you can't have Axl without Slash.
I know, isn't that weird?
You can't.
It doesn't
Well,
make
it's the
sense.
same way you can't have like Steven Tyler without Joe Perry. It just doesn't work. It is what it is, and you have what's his face, Mick Jagger with Keith. You know, you have to have that. People don't understand. Like that is such a tight bond. Like you need to have that because
you could still have Slash as the guitarist.
Yeah, but if we're gonna fuck around, let's fuck around. All right, let's say Axl Rose is a singer. I would put him with.
You know who could fit that
guitar player?
Guitar player? Mick Mars.
It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad. I think you could do better.
Could do better. I'd probably do better, but
I would say, how about Axl Rose with Dimebag Darrell on guitar?
Okay.
Like, see, you're thinking classic rock. I'm thinking like metal. Because you couldn't have. Actually,
no, I'm not. No.
You know who would be good if you did Axl Rose with Randy Rhoads? That'd be kind of cool. It would definitely play along with the orchestrated aspect of it.
I would also see. I could also see Axl with Zach Wilde. Or are they too big? Is that too big?
It's too similar, I think.
To Slash?
To Slash.
You think Zach Wilde is too similar to Slash?
I think Zach Wilde is Slash on amphetamines.
I think Zach was. Who was first? No, I think.
What?
I was trying to think who came out first, but
Slash,
because
Zach Wilde came out way after.
Not too far after. Because he was on that first, or not the first, but Ozzy's comeback album.
Yeah,
he was the guitarist for that. That was in the 80s.
Yeah, like late 80s.
I think it's like 88, 89.
Yeah,
and Appetite for Destruction was 86.
Yeah. And you're talking about, like, he wasn't the Zach Wilde that you see now. You know?
Wasn't much different.
Yeah. Look,
like, if you listen to that guitar riff on The Light in the Window is a Crack in the Sky.
Oh. Yeah. But that's... Oh, fuck.
No More Tears.
Yeah, No More Tears. Yeah, that was the single that came back. I want to say it was like on the Ozman Cometh or something.
It's the one with the gold cross.
Yeah, the Ozman Cometh. The Ozman Cometh. Yeah, that's like, which kind of sucks because that was a compilation almost album.
The song that got me into Ozzy, like I wouldn't touch, when I was a kid, I wouldn't touch any heavy metal because I was always afraid that it was the devil's music.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't touch heavy metal. But when I was like 12 or 13, somebody gave me Bark at the Moon.
Oh, that's a great album.
And Bark at the
Moon. And like Randy Rhoads is a fucking amazing guitar player, man. And everybody thought he was a woman when he came into the studio.
He looked like a woman.
Well, yeah, and everybody thought
he was tiny.
He was tiny. He was like 5 foot. It's a shitty way to die, too, man.
Well, think about that's how Otis Redding died. Otis Redding died in a plane crash.
Yeah, it's different, though, how he died. Otis Redding died in a plane crash. Like Randy Rhoads crashed the plane into Ozzy's tour bus. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think Axl is a good example just because Guns N' Roses is such a great band.
It is hard to replace the people in Guns N'
Roses.
The only, but Axl is such a great front man.
Axl is great, man.
All right, let's switch him out for Led Zeppelin.
For Led Zeppelin.
What's his name?
The singer?
Singer.
Yeah. Fuck.
Exactly. I got Jimmy Page. Oh my gosh.
Is it Robert Townsend?
No, that's the guitarist for The Who.
Yeah. No. Oh my God.
Holy cow.
Fuck, we suck.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, what is his fucking name?
Holy shit, we can't remember. What
is it?
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant. See, I was
Holy
close.
Shit.
I said Robert.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so Robert Plant. Robert Plant in his fucking heyday, like top of the top.
Yes. Can you separate him from Jimmy Page?
Yes, I think so, because as much as I love Jimmy Page did rip off a lot of music. So I would say you had like, see, the thing is that
could you put Tommy Iommi with
Led Zeppelin
with Robert Plant?
No,
Because
no.
you don't think it would fit?
It just wouldn't work because Tony was so dark compared to Robert's.
Was he dark?
Like,
It was just
you had to detune.
he had to detune because his fingers weren't strong enough.
Well, like they were like a quarter of an inch shorter. He lost his fingertips. I would say if you put like Robert Townsend would be great with Slash. I think that's because
Is it Robert? Is it Robert?
I keep saying Townsend. Robert Plant. Robert Plant
With
was
Slash.
Fuck, man, it's hard to sit there and say. Actually, okay, so do that. I would take Plant with Slash, Neil Peart, and on bass, I would put. Fuck, you can't put Les Claypool.
Could you put Geddy Lee?
No.
Why not? Because of Neil Peart?
Yeah.
Geddy Lee's a pretty good bassist.
He's a pretty good bass player, but I don't think he's not to the. You know what though? What's his face?
Lemmy?
No, I don't
You can't
think
put
so.
Lemmy with them?
No.
Why?
Can't. He's too much, man. Lemmy is a front man. He's not a bass player. He's a front man.
Yeah,
he
but
didn't play bass. He played rhythm, bass guitar. Like he played rhythm guitar. Let's
Do you
just
know? Did you know
it.
the guy that managed the Sex Pistols asked him to teach Sid Vicious how to play bass?
Nah.
Yeah,
That would have been bad.
he tried. He's like, I couldn't teach this guy anything. He didn't do it.
Junkies teaching junkies, that wouldn't happen. No way, man. Fuck, man. Who would I put on that? I know there's probably people listening to this podcast right now like, you fucking dummy. You should put him on bass. Fuck, you know what, man? It's tough because there's not too many crazy, amazing. Oh, how about Victor Wooten? That'd be kind of cool.
Think about, we got Flea.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'd put Flea. Fuck it. I'd put Flea. Totally forgot about Flea. You put Slash, Flea, Robert Plant, and Neil Peart. You'd have a fucking band.
That's a solid band.
You'd have a band. I'll give you one.
I'd like to see that creative process. I think
it'd be pretty good.
I think the creative process with
The only person that would get frustrated is Neil Peart. That's the only person that would get frustrated because he's so clean and sober. Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, is he?
yeah. Oh yeah. They smoke weed. That's about it. But he died, or somebody died in his family, like in a car accident. I think it was his sister or something. He went through a full-on depression. I think he was like suicidal.
Neil
at some
Peart?
point. Yeah. Yeah, you got to watch the whole like story on Rush. I get into these holes sometimes where I do so much deep research on certain bands, and I always hated Rush. I always hated Rush.
Rush has been one of my favorites for
Hated.
so long.
Full on. I did not like Rush until Trailer Park Boys.
Until they kidnapped Alex Lifeson.
Yeah, until that episode, I did not like Rush.
Did you know Bubbles really plays guitar?
Yeah. No, he's a great guitar player. He had a band.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. I'll give you a singer. I'm trying to see like who you could. Fuck that. I'm just thinking. All right, that's something different. All right, I'll do that one next. Give me a band that would fit his style but sound nowhere like the band he was in.
Okay.
Freddie Mercury.
Holy shit. Okay, Freddie Mercury. Okay.
Which, total side note, that Freddie Mercury movie that's going to come out looks pretty fucking good. Because it was going to be Sacha Baron Cohen, and they got rid of him and are using the guy from Mr. Robot.
Oh, yeah.
And like if you look at the photos, he looks dead fucking on.
So right off the bat, on piano.
Why you gotta have fucking piano? Freddie Mercury plays piano.
Because.
Okay.
This is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Follow me on this one.
Okay.
Brian Wilson.
On piano?
On piano. But also the main music writer behind the band.
Right.
So there, we have piano. Drums, I'm going to go with Phil Collins.
I honestly thought you were going to throw Keith Moon. But okay.
No, Phil Collins. Because I wanted to sound different.
Right.
And I think Keith Moon is too much, is too rocky.
Yeah,
even
Keith
though
Moon,
Genesis was a rock band, but it's like...
I think you give Phil Collins too much credit, man.
What do you mean?
I think you give him too much credit as a drummer.
He wasn't a bad drummer. He was in one of the best bands of the 70s as the drummer.
Yeah, but then he went to singer.
Yeah, because he saw an awesome.
All right, continue.
Bass. Let's really fuck things up and put in Gene Simmons.
Yeah, he's not a great bass player, but that'd be a good show.
That'd be a good show. Think about the show that we're putting together here.
I don't think you're taking band dynamics into consideration here. Gene is a very selfish guy.
He's a selfish guy, I know. Okay, so if we 86 Gene.
Yeah, you can't cheat. You can't look it up. I didn't get to look it up.
Hey, look. No. I'm not looking. I'm trying. I'm getting somebody else for my.
How about Sly?
Who?
Sly. From Sly and the Family Stone.
As the bassist?
Yeah. Look, that's a bad motherfucking bass player. When they did their comeback, he came back with a broken hand and fucking played slap bass.
Kip Winger. I'm going to go with Kip Winger
right.
on bass.
I'll give you that.
Because Kip is an actually really good bass player.
Yeah.
Then the guitarist,
Don Dokken.
George Lynch.
George Lynch would be good, man.
From Dokken.
Yeah. George Lynch would be good. That'd be pretty cool. So you have Freddie Mercury, George Lynch, Brian Wilson, and who was your drummer?
Drummer was Phil Collins, but that's up in the air.
Shawn, I hate to tell you, that's a shit band right there.
I don't think so.
I think so.
All of those guys. So you have Brian Wilson, Phil Collins, and Freddie Mercury know how to build a song.
I can tell you that Freddie Mercury and Brian Wilson writing music would be absolutely insane. I think it would be probably some of the best songs ever. You know, like one of the collaborations that was supposed to happen and never did? There would have been one of the best collaborations of all time.
What?
Prince and Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
So they were going to have an album together. And the funny part is Prince shot down the collaboration.
You know why? I'm sure. Because he was a real artist, could play all the instruments. No?
Nope. Because Michael wanted to have Bubbles in the studio and Prince didn't want it. So he said, fuck it, I'm not going to do this.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was like something super awkward and weird.
When I was a kid during that time, like Michael Jackson and Prince, so like early 80s,
right?
Which you don't remember much of.
I've studied enough.
But you were either a Prince guy or a Michael Jackson guy.
Yeah.
Kind of like how you're either Beatles or Rolling Stones.
Yeah. But if you really split it up, I honestly feel that the compilation of work was better on Michael Jackson's side than Prince's. Artistically, Prince was much more ahead of his time, 100%. However, Michael Jackson all around was better. And now you're saying that Prince played all the instruments. Yes, he plays something like 17 instruments or something like crazy like that. But Michael Jackson already would have all the songs in his head of how he wanted it. And you're also talking about a guy that worked with Quincy Jones.
But let me ask you a question. Who would you rather listen to?
Who would I rather listen to?
Right now, if they said, okay, you can listen to
Michael Jackson.
See, I would take Prince.
Michael Jackson, hands down.
Prince has one of my all-time favorite songs.
Oh, he's got a bunch of my favorite songs.
But like, if anybody talks during this song, I want to slap them in the face. Little Red Corvette.
No, it's a great song.
It's like, to me, but I don't know if that's because I really like the song, or I have memories of that being like one of the first videos watching on MTV.
Dude, that song, the lyrics to this song are so fucking great. If you analyze it, and this is off the top of my head, this is how much I know this fucking song. You got a pocket full of horses.
Pocket full of
You got a pocket full of condoms. So like that's an alliteration that most people probably wouldn't get, because you're talking about Little Red Corvette. So you're thinking, oh, you got a pocket full of horses. The car runs so fast, whatever. Like, it's a great fucking song.
Yeah.
I would say like Prince's like music is so good, and like I'm scared at the fact that he's got hundreds, if not thousands, of songs that will never see the light of day.
Oh, they will now.
No. Never.
Was
never.
it in his will?
Yeah. Never.
He said you can't release any songs?
Nothing. Prince had his whole house wired, and it's documented. Like, even Kevin Smith talked about it.
I remember that.
Right.
But I don't remember him.
He's got full-on music videos that he shot that will never come out, songs that will never come out, and the way that his will will never ever fucking come out. That you might as well have just torched them. If they come out, it won't be for another 100 years. But to think of like, damn, imagine the fucking songs. And same with Michael. I think Michael has like a good handful of songs that never came out. Was that this year or
2016 that he died?
Michael?
No, Prince.
I want to say it was last year.
We lost Prince and we lost David Bowie.
Man, the David Bowie one is pretty tough. And he took it to a whole new level with that last album.
He died in 2016.
Yeah.
I was never really a Bowie fan. The only Bowie song I really liked was he died. 2016 was a rough year for famous people. The only Bowie song I really liked was Under Pressure with Queen.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
he's got so many good songs. And mind you, I was never big on David Bowie. I fucking hate him for doing The Dark Crystal, because that movie fucks me up.
What's that movie? That movie's fucking rad.
No, I can't. That movie's too fucking creepy, man. Total side note, I meant to hit you up the other day. I was watching Alien. Such a good fucking movie. I don't care what you say about Sigourney Weaver. She was so hot.
She was not hot.
She was so
At no point. The hottest Sigourney Weaver ever was as
Ghostbusters
as the keymaster or the gatekeeper.
Look,
that was the hottest Sigourney Weaver.
If you ever hear this, I just want one date.
Oh wait, Vision.
Just one date. Huh?
Galaxy Quest. She was kind of hot.
See, we had this conversation last time, asshole. Just say I'm right.
She kind of had her boobs out.
I'm right.
No. She's not an attractive woman. She's very manly.
No.
Yeah, her
not.
face is very manly.
No. What are you talking about? The only time she had, like, they made her look manly was in Alien
3.
No, Alien 4. When she was with what's her face? The girl from Stranger Things.
Oh, Winona
Ryder. Yeah, she was like
that
the
movie
mama
made
alien.
Me sad. I won't watch 4.
Why?
Because of the one alien that gets sucked out.
Oh, the baby alien.
The
gross alien.
Yeah, I felt bad for that thing.
You felt bad for a killing machine.
What?
For a killing machine?
But it wasn't. It was like when it noticed her, and like when it started getting sucked out of into space, it had like a look of real fear on it. I won't watch that.
Good. I hope it's scared.
No, it wanted its mom. She was its mom.
Yeah.
That's all it wanted was her mom.
I don't care. So was the Queen Alien in Aliens 2. It doesn't matter.
No, she was different. That bitch could go get flushed out to space.
Exactly.
Get away from her, you bitch.
Such a good fucking movie. That like
okay, so now we're on to movies. Since we're going to movies.
Hold on. You talk. I'm gonna grab some Fro Pro. You want one?
No, I do not want a Fro Pro.
Shout out to Fro Pro.
Shout out to Fro Pro, Matty Williams.
Ask him to sponsor my podcast.
Is there? He's already sponsoring mine. That hasn't started yet. Is there a bet? Who? Okay.
One more time in English.
Spielberg or Cameron?
Cameron. If it would have been 20 years ago, I would have said Spielberg. However,
Why not? Why not now?
broke my heart.
With what?
Indiana Jones.
Oh, that one's.
Uh-huh. Indiana Jones.
But that was because George Lucas was a part of it.
Nope.
He was.
Not for that one.
He was too.
Nope.
He is an executive producer. I
That means-
guarantee.
That means he gave the money and gave the rights to use it. Sorry, man. Spielberg broke my heart. And then re-releasing E.T. with all the guns removed to walkie-talkies.
What?
Man. Are you serious right now?
No, I'm dead serious. I don't even have no idea what you're talking about.
He re-released E.T. and he made all the cops, instead of having guns, because remember they were trying to get Elliot and E. We'll call him E because we're down like that. They photoshopped, or whatever you want to call it, and they got rid of all the guns and made them into walkie-talkies.
Directed by Steven Spielberg. Produced Frank Marshall. Screenplay David Coep. Story by George Lucas.
Story means nothing.
Yes.
No.
Characters by George Lucas.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is his character.
Music by John Williams. John Williams is a prolific. Think about the classic soundtracks he's made.
I put John Williams on the same level as Quincy Jones. I'm moving the mic. Sorry for the noise, guys.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
Oh.
Ready. Here is his. Think about these movies, and this is all one guy.
Oh, by the way, we totally still have to go back to my thing about Pink Floyd, but continue.
Ready for this? Jaws.
Great movie.
No, these are. I'm just talking about the score. Think about
John Williams. I can tell you off the top of my head.
Jaws.
Star
Wars.
Back to the Future.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. First Superman. E.T.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Jones. Jurassic Park. Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the big ones. He did not do.
Pretty sure he did.
No, not Back to the Future. But think about these. Do the theme for Jaws. Now do Star Wars.
Come on.
That's
Superman. Yeah. Superman.
Superman and Star Wars are very similar.
So here's the thing. Now, again, this is coming from my analysis of it. There's a lot of themes, like little melody themes, that get switched from one into the other. If you pay attention to it, you'll hear it. Like, you'll hear the Superman love theme, like when he meets Lois or whatever and they're flying. It's also used in Star Wars, I want to say, in either like Yoda's theme or where like Han and Leia are sitting there talking. Oh, come on, man. Don't be like that. It goes in people's ears. At least be like polite about that.
No. We're savages. We're sitting talking about classical music. We're
John
savages.
Williams,
We're straight up savages.
What you didn't announce on there is the fact that he did the music for the Olympics.
Yes, he did do the Olympics.
That album is still one of my favorites.
The 1984 Summer Olympics, NBC Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
He did the Land of the Giants, and the first season of Gilligan Island.
Dude, John Williams is no fucking joke, man. And in all seriousness, when I was looking into getting into colleges, I was looking at going to UCLA because he was a professor there. And obviously we just couldn't afford it. And I didn't have the musical experience at the time to get into that program. It's intense.
Yeah.
But I would have loved...
Well, it's amazing of what it takes to get into some of these schools.
Some more than others.
Yeah, some more than others.
Yeah.
But it's like Berkeley's supposed to have a tough music program to get into.
To get into and survive. Berkeley is no joke, man. Like, Berkeley is... Like, John Mayer went to Berkeley and tons and... what's his face? Vernon Reed from Living Colour.
Living Colour.
Bro,
there's a band that's...
Yeah. They were down here, missed it. Or they're coming down here, I forget which one it is. But I'd love to see Living Colour. They just came out with a new album.
That riff for Cult of Personality.
Yeah. So now the riff is pretty easy, but that guitar solo is like by far one of the most difficult guitar solos to ever play. Oh, so this is what I was gonna tell you. This is totally something else. Last night I started jamming out to a song and I forgot how fucking good of a song and guitar solo, like probably one of the best guitar solos of all time. Peter Frampton, Feel Like We Do. That song is so fucking good. You remember it?
Feel like we do.
This is like he's the
I
one
don't
that
remember the guitar solo.
he's the one that made it popular to have the talk box.
Talk box, yeah.
Like, bro, just listen to it. Listen to it and just tell me it's not one of hands down the best guitar solos of all time. It's crazy.
You know what my favorite guitar solo is gonna, and it's a short one.
What?
It's gonna make you laugh.
What?
Is John Frusciante and Danny California.
Oh, that's a great song. Yeah.
At the end, like he's just
to dig a slide guitar.
Yeah.
John Frusciante is a great guitar player, man. So no, go back way back to what we were talking about. The best album of all time, Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
I can't stand Pink Floyd. I like 2 songs from Pink Floyd.
Which ones?
Take a guess.
Wish You Were Here.
Yep.
And The Wall.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else?
I'll tell you right now, like I got to look this up, but Dark Side of the Moon held the record for longest charting album of all time, and I'll tell you how many weeks in just a minute once Wikipedia decides to
Well,
pop up.
while you're waiting for that, can you name off the top of your head the greatest selling debut album of all time?
Greatest selling debut album?
Of all time.
I'm gonna say it's High School Musical.
Nope.
What?
It's something we've already touched on today.
The Beatles? Sgt. Pepper?
Nope.
What?
Appetite for Destruction.
You're wrong.
Yes, greatest selling debut album.
You're wrong. I guess it doesn't count as debut, but Glee or High School Musical had the biggest selling album. Actually, you know what? It's probably not even Appetite for Destruction. It's got to be Off the Wall. Michael Jackson's Off the Wall.
Well, it really wasn't a...
What's it say? Just read it.
Appetite for Destruction, Geffen Records. Biggest selling debut album of the 80s and biggest hard rock game changer. Appetite for Destruction, 100 best debut albums of all time, 10 best selling debut albums in U.S. history. There we go.
So it was that?
Nope.
What?
I don't know. I'm gonna.
Oh,
Number
so
10
then,
was Linkin Park.
exactly. I'm right. You're wrong.
8. No. Wait. How did they have this set up?
See?
10, Linkin Park. Tied for 8, Jewel and Matchbox 20.
God, people's taste in music blows.
7, Pearl Jam. 10.
Nice.
5, tied for 5, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And Britney Spears.
Not surprised.
4, Whitney Houston. 3, Hootie and the Blowfish. 2, Boston. Number 1, Appetite for Destruction, 18 million copies.
Yeah, that sounds like all bullshit to me if you can clearly see that list.
Debut albums. Best-selling
That's
debut
weird.
albums of all time.
Let's see. All right, here you go. Dark Side of the Moon was a commercial and critical success. It topped the Billboard Top LPs and Tapes chart for a week and remained in the chart for 741 weeks from 1973 to 1988.
That's crazy.
So imagine an album that came out in 1973 was still top charting for 15 years. Good luck. Tell me an album that came out in the last 10 years that could do that. None.
No, I don't even know what albums. I don't even know what albums are anymore. I just go to Spotify.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm trying to think, like, the closest album that you could see that would probably still last that long. Like, maybe like a U2 album? Maybe. but not charting like that.
No.
No way.
That'll never that. But that whole music industry has changed from back then, anyways.
It has and it hasn't. The thing is that because we're so social, it's niched. So it's harder to find an album that covers so many people. It'll be easier for individual songs to cover such a large number of people, like Happy, the Pharrell song that they did for Minions.
Oh yeah.
That covered so many fucking people. But as far as like an entire piece of work that could span over so many tastes for such a long time, it's gonna be a long time before we get another Michael Jackson or Prince. Like, no, it's crazy. What are you doing, man? Are you still on the phone? What time is it? Oh shit, it's 2.
I'm looking up shit. Yeah, we've been talking music. Well, no,
what are we at? We're at an hour. We're an hour and a half. I gotta get going soon. Fuck, what else was I gonna tell you? There's something that I want. Oh, so one thing I do want to talk to everyone about is the charity event that we have going on tomorrow. Hopefully this goes out in time, but it should be pretty fun.
Either way, if it doesn't, we're still doing charity.
Yeah, it's gonna come out tonight. I'll be able to pump this out tonight. That should be pretty fun, man. In case you guys don't know, what we're doing is we are putting together the second annual toy drive charity and photo shoot, tacky sweater photo shoot. So what's going to happen is we're inviting people from different gyms and all over the community to come by, donate a toy for kids, and if you donate a toy, we're going to take a photo of you in front of my awesome Christmassy backdrop, and we're hoping that you come in your tackiest of tacky sweaters so we can take a nice goofy photo, glamour shot for you to have for your holiday card. And if people want to take a good straightforward photo, that's cool too. A nice classy Christmas photo. We're set up for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are boring.
Oh, speaking of which, do you have your Santa suit?
I don't have a
Did
Santa
anybody tell you about getting a Santa Claus suit?
I'm not wearing it.
Why?
Because I'm not wearing a Santa Claus suit.
Why?
It's way too friggin' hot.
You're going to be in the air conditioning.
No, I'm not wearing a Santa suit.
You're going to break the kids' hearts.
F the kids.
All right.
I'm not like Trick Daddy.
All right. Man, that's kind of fucked up. I guess I got to come in my Santa Claus outfit.
F them kids.
That's fucked up. This is the whole point, is that fucking toy drive for kids.
You know, I want to help them kids. I don't care about the kids.
Oh, did you hear that they announced Gabby's next fight opponent for Ryzen?
Oh, no.
It is a 53-year-old
Oh, yeah.
politician.
Yeah, I heard. I saw
whose last fight was in 2000.
Dude, that's so stupid.
How bad is that?
That's so stupid.
How can you take an entire career of jiu-jitsu credentials and fucking throw them out the window to become a sideshow freak?
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's got to make money somehow. I get it. It's money. And there's really not much money to be made in jiu-jitsu.
But if you want to be a spectacle, be a spectacle. But don't sit there and try and act like you're gonna be some kind of talented fighter and put on bullshit like shows like that. I give more respect to fucking CM Punk. At least he fucking fought Mickey Gall. He fought like an actual fighter. He didn't go out and get like me to go and fight against. You know? Come on, man.
I knew he was in trouble right when he came out, and he.
I knew he was in trouble when he announced that he wanted to fight.
Well, here's the thing: is I've had a couple conversations with CM Punk over my time in pro wrestling. He is a legit dude as far as
for sure.
As like he's the kind of guy that if he puts his mind to something, he's gonna accomplish it. And he wasn't unskilled. Everyone's so. He
had wrestling, but he wasn't a striker.
Right, he wasn't a striker at all. But even wrestling, he didn't have real wrestling. He had pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about pro wrestling. When I was a pro wrestler for 13 years. For those of you out there that don't know that, I was a pro wrestler for 13 years. What we learned was catch as catch can.
Yeah.
Is what
catch
it's called.
wrestling.
Catch wrestling, or as it was used to be called, catch as catch can.
Yeah.
So it's basically chain wrestling. From one to hold to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Now, over the years, what wrestling did is wrestling started in the fairs and the carnivals of the It started in the fairs and carnivals of the what was it? The the early 1900s. And hey guys, early 1900s. So, but what they did is they would actually have people who would challenge people. In the crowd.
Coming from the crowd.
People would come in from the crowd.
Like Spider-Man.
What's that?
Like Spider-Man.
Like Spider-Man. That was real shit. They would go around to all these towns and they would get the baddest man, and then they would have somebody beat the shit out of them. And sometimes the baddest man in the town would
beat
win.
The shit out of the guy. Yeah, of course.
They would win.
But they would it was all about taking bets.
Right. But what happened was these guys started going, well, instead of getting this guy, why don't we put a guy in the crowd that's in on it so nobody gets hurt? A ringer.
Yeah.
So nobody gets hurt. And that's where the
idea of wrestling
came about. of the work happened. So now these guys,
Can you imagine, though? They got to have been caught at some point or another where like, wait a minute, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you're in a small town. Like, I've never seen that guy before. Does he work with you, Dale? No. Does he work with you, Chip? I'm like, no.
Yeah, but think about it. Those fairs, when people came they came from all over the place because that's all they had.
Right, but if you're in a small town, wouldn't you be like, nobody noticed?
People would come from different towns all over. Yeah, man. People would travel for that shit.
Yeah.
If you're getting a carnival within 100 miles of you.
I guess so. Like, they didn't have shit back then.
They didn't have shit. So all of a sudden, I get to go to a carnival, and this thing was huge.
Get fucked up.
People would do this. And then, but the wrestling, the catch wrestling, is legit. It's legit. Catch wrestling comes from the same area as jiu-jitsu and all the other grappling arts. Everything comes from that pancration. The difference between catch wrestling and jiu-jitsu is
one's real and one's fake.
No. Real catch. I'm talking real catch wrestling. The difference is catch wrestling is meant to just fuck you up.
Yeah.
Not just incapacitate you.
Yeah, no, you're gonna get fucking.
You're gonna get your jaw broken. You're gonna get your ankle broken. Whatever they get a hold of, they take it and they twist it in the wrong way.
That's
what catch wrestling is finding a joint and twisting it in the wrong way.
So what do you think then about the?
And we saw
the move towards whatchamacallit, combat jiu-jitsu.
I love combat jiu-jitsu. Just because they're slapping the shit out of each other.
Right.
That's just fun to watch and
hear. But now Eddie Bravo's talking about adding kicks.
In the standing?
I mean, it's got to be in the standing.
I don't think they should add standing. I don't think they should add kicks. It's either grounded strikes, and I don't mean just slaps. Grounded strikes.
Right. See, like my first exposure
it's like
what?
At the same time, man, there should be no fucking rules.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
You can't. Well, look,
I agree. It should go back to Vale Tudo.
Vale Tudo, no eye gouging, no biting.
Well, like there was no eye gouging,
no fish hooking,
and no fish hooking. But see, in Vale Tudo, I think they allowed fish hooking, and you could even go and like grab people's nuts. There's that like famous fight where like the dude is like he gets the other guy's back and he was like losing, but he gets his back and he reaches deep into his fucking Speedo and just wrenches his nuts. You've never seen that?
I have a vague recollection of that, but I think I blocked it out.
I have the fight saved. I found it on YouTube. Like I got lucky because it was I want to say it was like a Russian fighter, and it was like all posted in Russian. So I managed to find a fight and I saved it. So I have it on my computer somewhere. But yeah, like the dude just really they were like in the corner. Like the guy who had like, the one who was taking the back had his back in the corner, I think it was. Or he was on the ropes. And he just, like you just see this hand go deep into this like orange Speedo and just squeeze the hell out of it. Can you imagine?
Here's the thing. I get it. It's a weapon and he's doing it as an offensive move, but you're still putting your hand on a guy's junk.
Look, if it was
like the one even better. Remember Keith Hackney versus Joe Sung. Joe Sung
checking the oil?
No, dude, Keith Hackney was uppercutting Joe Sung's nuts up against the cage. You just going, see, to me, that's better.
Yeah.
I'm not
getting
a handful of junk.
They were on the floor.
Right, they were on the floor.
Yeah.
But the position he was at, he was uppercutting, or he was like hooking the nuts.
He was just hooking. He's just like pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
Like, bro, if you have any kids at all, they're coming out cross-eyed after that.
Well, that dude's the one that Joe Sung's the one that raped a girl and went to jail.
Yeah, he was in
Austin
Powers. He did more than rape a girl. What he did was fucked up, and he deserves to fucking rot in hell.
Did he kidnap her? I don't remember what it was.
Him and some other guy kidnapped this girl and like just mutilated her and like just raped her repeatedly like over a weekend or something crazy like that. And then he just
people, man. I really don't.
That guy was fucked up in the head. Like he just, I hope somebody chops his balls off and fucking.
Well, maybe he has
puts
no
them in his
balls
mouth.
because of that fight, man.
No, he deserves to fucking eat a dick for life. Fuck that guy. Yeah, but see, like, I think that the only thing that could really stop the UFC now, I mean, it'd be very hard to have a Bellator compete, is if a full-on legal Vale Tudo comes out where they do it. Not like the Russian fights where it's like 10 on 10 in an office setting.
Those are kind of cool to watch.
They're fun to watch.
But you know which
dangerous.
ones I like watching better? Not the 10 on 10 ones. It's like the 3 on 3, but it's like an obstacle course that they fight on.
Yeah. It's the same one. Yeah.
That thing is fucking nuts.
It's so crazy, but to me, it's too replicant of like a street fight, of like a dirty street fight where someone can get jumped. So when it's like 2-on-1, like, all right, now it's not a competitive match. It's an ass whooping, which is, that kind of kills it for me. It's like, okay, wow, if I want to watch that, I'm just going to go watch World Star. That's how I see it. But if it's like 1-on-1 where you get like Chuck Liddell versus whoever, like, fuck yeah, I'll watch that. For sure I'll watch that. And those fights will end either a lot faster or they'll last a lot longer.
Well, those 10 on 10 fights don't last long. Have you watched those?
Right, but I'm saying like
they
a 1-on-1.
last like 4 minutes total, because as soon as one person goes down, then it's like it's a pack mentality.
Yeah, it's bad.
Then it's 2-on-1. Then it's 3-on-1. Then it's like it just keeps getting worse.
Well, you know what's picking up now, like in popularity. I don't want to make too much noise.
The medieval fighting.
Yeah. Did you see the Vice did like a documentary on one recently? And this guy follows like 2 or 3 different people who are fighting in it. I would do it. I would compete in that. I would do it, but it's got to be so expensive to buy all the armor.
Yeah, I don't. That dude. Tell you what I liked a lot more than that was that Italian game, the game they play in Italy, where they're like in like.
Are they where they do it like once a year?
Where they play it. It's like with a ball.
They beat the shit out of each other.
And then literally beat the shit. It's like MMA with soccer, but like rugby, but literally beat it. And they're wearing like those pantaloon pants. That they wore in like the 1500s.
The soccer ball is just added to make it look like it's a game. It's really to beat the shit out of each other.
Shit out of it. But that game was like. That was intense, man. Because now you're moving fast, and now people are just fucking slugging you in the face.
Well, it's like that goat polo version that they play in like Rambo, that they play out in like Afghanistan.
Oh yeah.
Like if you guys haven't seen that, it's pretty crazy. Basically,
Rambo 3.
If you watch Rambo 3, they show it, and it's actually like a real game.
It's a real game, yeah.
Like
the Kazakhs.
Well, no, I'm saying that they were playing a real game. They were trying to beat the shit out of Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, he talks about it. But basically, what these guys do they're playing a version of polo/soccer with a dead goat.
Smear the queer.
Yeah,
I guess I know that's not the right name for the politically correct name.
Yeah.
What's the other name?
Old timey.
It was Kill the Carrier.
Kill the Carrier, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, these guys are carrying a dead goat, and the goal
I'm going to get all kinds of hate for this, for saying that.
But
that's what it was called when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, there's tons of, there was Nazis when you were a kid, too. That's not good.
There wasn't Nazis.
You're pretty old.
I'm not that old. Well, I mean, there was Nazis in prison. I just watched this whole thing about Nazis going to prison in the 70s with the Nazi hunters. It was awesome.
Did you see... I always, like, once in a while go into those holes to look at those conspiracies and see how Hitler
was still alive in Argentina.
Have you seen the photos?
It looks just like him.
Hey, that's fucking Hitler.
That's Hitler.
100% that's Hitler.
I believe Hitler. I believe 100% that Hitler left.
No, yeah, for sure.
He got the fuck out of Dodge.
100%. I think it.
Him and Eva Braun retired to fucking Argentina, found the nice little hole in the ground, and
most likely they just they made some kind of like secret pact. They found him, and he said like, I want to speak to freaking Winston Churchill, and Churchill was like, we're gonna sneak you off to Argentina, because this is the same time that they were having like issues with like the Falkland Islands and stuff, and just probably throw him in there. I think so. If you guys want to see a fucked up story, look up the story of like the Falkland Islands between Argentina and the UK. That's a real fucked up story.
Yeah, that's a fucked
and
up story.
Like nobody knows about it here. I mean, I only know about it because of like my family or whatever. Obviously.
Did you ever watch This Is England? Great fucking movie.
Yeah.
But the kid lost his dad to the Falkland Islands.
Oh, a lot of people did.
Yeah, yeah.
I never told you a story about my grandpa. He was I forget if it was
That was
grandpa
the
or great
80s,
grandpa.
dude.
Yeah, he was in a foxhole and they dropped a bomb, and it landed next to him and it didn't blow up, and he just had a permanent stutter after that. He would like stutter
Because it scared him so much?
Oh, obviously he shit his pants, bro. He was like 2 feet away. A fucking bomb was dropped and it didn't blow up, and he's just like like, yeah, man, that's gonna fuck with you. That's PTSD
crazy.
to its fullest.
And there's nothing on the Falkland Islands. I don't know why they fought so hard for them.
No, there's oil and stuff, and it's a trade route. It's really a trade route, and so it's first of all, Argentina fucked up to begin with by allowing it all to happen. But again, this is the whole British mindset of make the world Britain.
Yeah.
The fact that China got out of it unscathed the way that they did is all because of money. But Argentina makes so many political mistakes that it's not even funny. Like, that's just all of South America makes such a fucking shit show when it comes to politics. You think Donald Trump is bad? Let's go look at the rest of the freaking.
I think, you know what I would think would save Donald Trump? Half or 75% of the headaches he fucking has. If he would just take that fucking Twitter away from him.
Are you kidding me? That guy's got no headaches. He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't.
That man does not give a fuck what you or I or anybody else thinks. And mind you, I have no fucking stake in this game. I don't give a fuck about politics. I really don't give a shit.
I won't talk about it.
Like, right. And this is the most you'll hear me talk about it. But no, dude, that guy doesn't give a fuck. Unless you're taking money away from him, he won't give a fuck about who you are.
And even then, dude, he's...
You know who's really in the shit show now? You see today?
No.
Matt Lauer?
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
It's funny, man, this whole... So, like, there's a lot of this social justice shit that I just want to slap people about.
For sure.
I'm offended shit. Well, guess what? Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. It just means you
You're a
have
pussy.
delicate sensibilities.
Yeah, you can be offended.
You can be offended all you want. If I offend you, oh well, go fuck yourself.
I don't give a fuck. Well, that's what I was saying before. I shouldn't talk about this, but someone got offended by how I speak on this podcast, and they refused to sponsor me. Which fine, go ahead. You don't have to sponsor me at all.
Yeah, that's.
There's not a fucking person in this world, maybe other than my mom, that I'm ever gonna watch what I fucking say for. If my cursing draws you away, then that's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Well, here's the thing. What's the problem with cursing? There's only one thing. So
I do think that you can do it too much,
and
I definitely do it too much.
I have no, but you don't though. There's people. Once in a while, we all do it. Like some people, like I have one of my good buddies, Joe, he's coming down next week. But
Nice.
Every once in a while, instead of saying he'll go fucking.
Oh, I do that all the time.
People will use that as that pause, but there's nowhere is it written in any religion that cussing is bad.
Actually, you just reminded me. I meant to apologize to everybody at the beginning of the podcast because I keep catching myself either doing the and or saying like every other fucking word. So I apologize to everybody. I am making a conscious effort to work on that because it does make me sound even dumber than I actually am. But yeah, it's a filler. It's a filler.
It's a filler, but not always is it a filler.
No.
Sometimes it's an all-encompassing word. Sometimes shit is fucked.
Yeah.
And we know what fucked means. Sometimes something is a shitstorm. We know what that means. Sometimes people are fucking assholes. If you're an asshole, is one thing. If you're a fucking asshole, it's another thing.
Yeah, I do think that for sometimes I curse too much, but I also think that if you get offended by something like that, it shows your lack of ability of accepting the direness of a situation. So if I'm going to be blunt and say something and add curse words here and there, or whatever, I'm being dead honest. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not putting a veil over anything. That's the situation. It is what it is. So for you to get offended over like me having that word in it shows that you don't grasp the severity of the situation that pertains to using that word.
Yeah, well, and there's certain words that do have a power. They're meant to take power away.
Yeah.
You know, we all know them. The N-word, when I said smear, unfortunately.
Just say it. It is
when
a
I
word.
said smear, the queer,
Yeah.
queer, all that, all that stuff. That stuff is meant to belittle somebody. But swearing, saying shit, fuck, damn,
Yeah.
asshole.
I draw the line when it comes down to when it's derogatory towards a person or race or this, that, and the other. Like saying, here's the thing, then again, English is my third language. So for me to truthfully understand the definition of something, I have to do the research in. So what throws me off is the word queer. Granted, like people use it towards derogatory towards like homosexual people, but then you have the word like queer is
peculiar,
and then you have query, which is
a question.
Right. So you're asking a question on something that's peculiar to you. So there had to be a developmental phase throughout all these words, and at one point it just becomes where it's a negative connotation.
But at some point, people are going to take offense to any.
Yeah, but I get that, like, because I used to call it the same thing, and then when I really started understanding more, like, yeah, it's hard to find something that means the exact thing that you used to play when you were a kid. It's tough to sit there. It's like, okay, what was it? Catch the
kill the carrier.
Kill the carrier. Nobody called that.
Nobody called it.
Nobody called it that. You would call it. You wouldn't even call it that if your dad was around, because he would call it that too. He would call it the other one too. So it's just, it sucks that was the development of that word and where it got to. But it's, to be offended by it is one thing. To degrade someone because they used it is another. But to degrade someone for using it when they didn't mean it like that, like, that's different, man. Like, you got to understand, people make those mistakes. You got to fix it. Like, if someone's trying to fix it, then okay, like, all right, I get it. Like, you fucked up. Like, you're trying to fix it.
But it also
it
comes down to the problem with words is your definition is different from my definition.
Not the definition. The definition is the definition.
But
it's how you perceive the word.
How you perceive the word. And I'm going to go ahead and say this word because because Eminem made it popular. And then what used to be said all the time, but now it's bad, is the word faggot.
Yeah.
If you call somebody who gay or who's gay or whatever, if you call them a faggot, that's being derogatory.
Yeah.
The same, but when you call your buddy, like we used to call our friends, quit being
yeah.
But we weren't saying it as, oh, you're being a homosexual.
Yeah.
We said it more like, you're being lame.
No, I get it. Like, dude, trust me, I get it.
This is going to be a controversial.
No, it's not
podcast.
controversial because we're not saying any. I'm not trying to use it in any way that is
but
actually.
See, what's
like,
funny is I'll say faggot, but I will never say the N-word.
Yeah, see, and that's where, like, it's one's okay and one isn't. It's either all okay or it's all isn't. So for me, I'm not gonna use the N-word, and out of bad habits, like maybe once in a while, I'll say, like, the F word, whatever. It's stupid.
That's stupid to say, right?
But it's you
But it
have
makes
to evolve.
sense.
And you have to evolve as a human being of understanding, like, you know, whatever word that might have been okay 50 years ago doesn't mean it's going to be 50 years from now or even today that it's right. So you granted, you can play the ignorance card of saying like, well, it used to be okay. It's like, well, it used to be okay to hit women. You're not going to do that now.
Well, like my grandmother,
Right.
she still calls, black people, or she calls them colored,
Yeah.
which is
That's
derogatory.
super, yeah.
But my grandmother was born in 1930,
Yeah.
where that
Was the reference for it.
No, it wasn't the reference. It was the polite reference. It wasn't just the reference. It was the polite reference. Because
I don't know if it was really polite.
It was. It was. Because
Why wouldn't they just say black?
because it wasn't. It was. That's not what they were called. They weren't. That. It was. It was the N word or
Colored.
and the she doesn't mean it to her. She's being nice.
You know what?
when she says that.
Yeah.
And I have to tell her, I'm like, Nana, you cannot say that like
Yeah.
that.
You know what word bothers me, and that not that it's like a real bad word, but is when people are referred to as a minority. I don't like referring to people as a minority because I don't want to perceive anybody as a minority, regardless of what the number of them is. That I just feel it's like,
Well, you're technically a minority.
yeah.
You're technically a minority.
Yeah, but see, that to me, it's like, I don't like, oh my God, I'm offended, it's a minority. It's like, I just feel it's like that's not a way to refer to
Right.
someone.
It's not.
Like you're not a minority. Just like, you can't be calling someone a minority. It's like, there's a lot less people that look like me, so we're a minority. Like, no, you're just a human being to me. I just see it as like human beings don't like it, and it just, I think when people stop putting stupid labels on stupid shit, things will move forward a lot faster. Remember, was it last year, 2 years ago, when the biggest argument was about who can fucking take a dump at Target?
What do you mean?
Remember when people was like, oh, well, there needs to be a transgender bathroom.
No, there's only two genders.
Whatever, you could fucking call yourself a fucking acorn for all I give a shit. Go take a dump, clean up after yourself, and let me go next.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all I give a fuck. I understand people that are uneasy if they just want to be protective of their kids, but don't sit there and...
These people aren't going to mess with your kids. If you're one of those people that doesn't want a transgender person in your bathroom because of your kids, you're an idiot, because these people aren't going to touch your kids. They're going in
It's
there
not
to
even...
go to the
It's like, hey,
bathroom.
have you ever used the porta potty? That's a pretty much unisex bathroom.
Just it's call all bathrooms unisex. And this it's a unisex bathroom, except this one's got a bunch of urinals in it.
Right. But even then, it's like and then you get into stuff like the whole Harvey Weinstein and sexual offenders and stuff like that.
Well, that's
a
assault.
different that's a different line.
That's not offense. That's assault.
Right, but people have this need to generalize people into these clumps, and then when it doesn't suit them, but when it suits them, it has to be fine, compartmentalized to this category person, to this category person. I'm this person, so I need to have that. You guys are all this, so you can have all that.
It's only when they generalize the multitudes.
Yeah.
You put a person across from another person, 9 times out of 10, they don't. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Well, it all comes down to like
But most
people generalizing and out of fear they would claim homosexuality is because people are sexual deviants, so it automatically look bad. So people have that engraved in their head, whether they know it or not, that they think that people that have these sexual preferences that is different to theirs as sexual deviants. Now, mind you, I don't give a fuck if you come into the bathroom in a furry suit. I'm only gonna give a shit if you're standing at the urinal next to me and you start looking at my dick. Like, then I'm like, all right, buddy, like let's take it easy there, you know?
And what if he looks like a really hot chick?
Well, then he is not a hot chick. So you know what I'm saying? So like that's why like it's
Nobody looks like one.
you know what's gonna happen, and I was thinking about this the other day, is people are so overly sensitive, and I fucking hate the word microaggression. Like anytime
Shout
I
out to Tom Sparrow, microaggressions.
right? Anytime I hear that fucking word, it pisses me off. But people are becoming so overly sensitive over the biggest or tiniest bullshit that, mark my words, 5-10 years from now, whenever that cycle comes back around, you're gonna see the next Andrew Dice Clay. You're gonna see the next Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
You're gonna see people and hear people say some of the most offensive fucking thing, and everybody's gonna laugh.
Here's what's gonna happen. Everybody's got all these. Everybody's so offended by everything that eventually someone's just gonna snap and is gonna offend everybody and do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna gain steam.
Yeah.
Like, and we see a little bit of this with Donald Trump.
Oh, see, but that's different though. I think it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you
I'm
finish.
just saying he offends people, and there's people who hate him with the every core of their being, and then there's people who follow him 100%. But it's like what started all this was everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's feelings matter.
I agree with that.
Everybody, I don't want you to feel like you're a loser, so you're gonna get a little trophy.
Yeah.
Even though you
Or we don't keep
sucked.
points.
Or
We don't keep points.
No, that's horse shit. That's horse shit mentality. Because let me tell you something. Your feelings don't matter.
Yeah.
Your
No one
feelings
gives a
don't
shit.
matter.
No one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Nobody's feelings matter except your feelings and the people you love. Those are the feelings you got to worry about. And what you do to those people, what's going to happen to them on the outside of the world with other people, that's out of your control. And trying to control that is what's making this world such an uptight.
And I completely agree. I think though everything that is going on today, from Trump to the KKK rallies and all the white supremacy rallies, even to the complete opposite, where like now people are saying like, if you're a white woman that's about to have a white baby, get an abortion kind of shit. Oh, you haven't heard that?
No.
Oh, bro, go look it up. There's people fucking going off about that stuff, saying like, if you're gonna have a white boy, a white male kid, you're automatically promoting like racism and all kinds of other shit. What happened was the whole bathroom thing started coming up, and then people just constantly, all this stupid claims of you're being racist, sexist, all these claims against people, these microaggressions that people are getting like pissed off about. The opposite side was getting just fucking hammered. You're getting hammered with like being put down for the little things that you care about or that define you as a person, whether they're right or wrong. It doesn't fucking matter. But if you spent every day and someone's telling you you're a racist, you're a bigot, and you're like, I got no problem with people, I just don't like this, or I just don't like that, or maybe you don't like that, you are a racist piece of shit, but you're not being bad to anybody, you're living in your own little like bubble, whatever fucking way it is, whether they're right or wrong. But if you're getting hammered by it every fucking day, and all of a sudden someone comes up and says, hey, it's okay if you think like that, like we're gonna build a fucking wall, we're gonna do this and that, you're gonna be like, that's my fucking guy. I shouldn't feel bad for feeling the way that I want to feel. I'm going to be proud of it. That's the same thing that happened with Nazi Germany. And I'm not going to sit there and fucking say like Trump is Hitler and all this other stuff. But if you look at history, that's the exact same thing. So you have the ebb and flow. You have the give and take. If I'm pushing you just so constantly, you're going to push back. So the extreme goes from one side to the complete and total opposite.
Yeah,
so which is what's going on now.
Like,
and now the problem is everybody has a voice, so you're hearing a whole shitstorm of just bullshit stuff, when at the end of the day, it's like, guess what? I'm okay with people coming out as racist. Like, go ahead, be as racist as you fucking want, because now I know who you are. Now I can sit there and say like, oh, he was the one that was fucking hiding in the closet with all his fucking racism and shit like that. Done. Like, oh, this is the person that hates women, or that was sitting there and being, a child molester, this, that, and the other. And he's sitting there saying it's okay. Fuck him. Oh, this person hates Mexicans and wants a wall. Bro, fuck you. Now I know. Now I have my barrier, and I can have a face to all those fucking like Facebook comments and all those fucking rallies and this and that.
Yeah, but the problem is it's weird my race and my gender is being targeted as this machine
of hate
that holds people down and keeps them from achieving anything. I've never in my life tried to stop anybody from doing anything that wasn't.
What's the saying? Blame the son for the sins of the father or something like that?
Even look, nobody in my family ever owned a slave. Nobody in my family ever was in the KKK. Nobody in my family, you know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. I'm with you on it, but
I have to apologize because I was born
a
white male in the United States.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like,
I'm not apologizing for that. I had no control over it.
Right. But
and not that it. And here's the thing, it's not a bad thing. I'm not looking at. It's not a. Everyone. Oh, you got so much more privileges. Oh, maybe I don't know. I'm here sitting with you. So how's that? You know what I'm saying? We're sitting in the same restaurant.
Yeah. It's not about you're sitting in the same restaurant. It's like you don't have to deal with some of the stuff that they have to.
Right.
You've never been pulled over by the color of your skin. You've never been searched for the color of your skin. Like, you've never sat there and been ridiculed or, and it's, which, again, I get it. My argument is that pushing it to an extreme doesn't solve the problem. You're only going to make it worse. Because now, let's say you were drilled with, like, okay, you're white and you're this, that, and the other, like, over and over and over again. You might have not been racist, but after a certain amount of people of like one organization are telling you that you are, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna be fucking racist. Might as well.
Well, yeah,
everybody already thinks that I am.
And here's the thing, they're calling all. I just watched this thing yesterday where they're all white men. If you're white and you're a male, you're a racist and you're a sexist, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not true. I mean, yes, guys are better at everything than women. That's a joke, people. It's a joke. But here's the thing: is I haven't done. Judge me by my actions, not by what I look like. And that's the same. I do that. That's the same treatment and respect that I give to everybody. I don't treat anybody how they look. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what sexual orientation you're of. I don't judge you by the group that you're in. I judge you by the person you are and the deeds that you have done.
Yeah.
Don't judge me based on...
No, dude, I get it. But I also have to look at it from their point of view. And when they spent or they feel that they spent an entire lifetime being oppressed or anything like that, there is an issue there. For sure there's an issue there. Is it everybody's fault? No.
But here's the biggest problem with everything. Nobody's working. So let's just say everything they say is right. That for the last 250 years of the United States, or not even the last 200, almost 250, 10 or 7 years, it's going to be 250. Last 250 years of the United States, white man ruled the roost, and they made all the rules and did all this stuff. Okay, now we're aware of it.
Yeah.
Instead of bitching about it, instead of whining about it, what are we doing to change it? You thinking a protest of you taking your knee during a national anthem is doing something about it?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I think it bringing awareness to something that's already got awareness to it is just shining more light on it. You could, once something has had the light shined on it, okay, I get it. All right, you're right. I see it. So what are we doing to change that?
But here's the thing, Shawn. It's that whole protest thing got so media twisted to the point where people don't realize why it started to begin with. So it started off for the reason that Colin Kaepernick was protesting the inequality and the way that black people were being treated by police, right? That's why it started. Then people started.
Mind you, statistics show something else, but we're not going to get into
It doesn't
that.
matter. Statistics can show whatever the fuck it is. This guy felt a certain way, and he had every fucking right to express that. Now, people were like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? He can't say that. He can't say that white people are doing this and that to him or the cops are doing that. Oh, let's twist it around saying, fuck him. He's pissing on the fucking flag, and he's pissing on, like, military servicemen and women. That's not the fucking even close to what he was saying.
No,
but it got twisted to that.
But
and then
it's
it
not
became...
what he's saying, but at the same time, it is that. Just as it is a protest against.
No, it'd be different if he came out and sit there and like talk shit about the military and said like, like that's. But that's not what he did. Like, mind you, do I feel like that military men and women have the right to be offended by it, or patriots have a right to be offended? Yes, you have a right to be offended by it. But while you're offended by it, why don't you ask yourself, why is it that this guy feels so damaged and hurt in a certain way that makes him do something so, like, image-wise, so powerful that affects me like this? Why is he doing that, and then why am I responding to it this way? And let's figure that out. Instead, it became, fuck you, you're pissing me off because of something that I do, so I'm going to sit there and talk shit about you. And then it became like, oh, well, these guys make millions of dollars, and they're spoiled about this, that, and the other. It's like they don't have the right to fucking kneel. They have every fucking right to kneel and complain, just how you have every right to kneel and or complain about what the fuck they're doing and how much they get made. Everybody's got a right to fucking complain about it. You don't have any right to tell me what I can and can't fucking do law-abiding, as a law-abiding citizen.
Right. You can't be arrested, but you can be fired. If it's against the rules, if it's against... So...
But again,
say you work for McDonald's.
Players weren't even so out on the field for the national anthem until a few years ago because it was a PR fucking stunt.
Right. No, but just as, if you're, I don't like the freedom, the First Amendment, free speech guarantees you that you will not be arrested for what you say. Which nowadays I don't even know if that's 100% true. It doesn't protect you from repercussions of what you say. So, or what you do.
Everybody is responsible to deal with the repercussions of their actions.
Right. So if you work for McDonald's and for some reason it's against their rules that you didn't wear a hairnet.
Well, that's a health violation.
Well, I understand.
You can't go around and fucking curse at the customers and be like, it's freedom of speech.
Yeah, it's freedom of speech. Okay. Same thing I'm not saying the football team's players have this in there, but if you're a football player and the owner of the team says nobody's allowed to kneel during the national anthem and you do kneel, you're not safe from that repercussion.
See, that's where I draw a line, though. That's not true. He's your employer.
Right, so he's got the right to unemploy you.
He pays you to do a job. He does not own you. He does not own the right to tell you what you can and can't
do. But he's got the right to fire you if you don't follow the rules that he puts in place.
Right, but here's the thing. His rules can't undermine my civil rights.
He's not undermining your civil rights. When you're working for him, when you could go when you're off the clock...
If you want to twist it to the way of saying like your actions are putting a connotation towards our brand that is not consistent with the image that we want to put out there, whether it's family or patriotic or this, that, and the other, I get it. But again, at the end of the day, it's got to come down to where we have some kind of humanity of saying, why do you feel that you need to do something like this in front of such a huge crowd that's gonna, it's gonna give you this response? Why are you doing this? Okay, it's because of this reason. All right, is this something that we can fix? Maybe yes, maybe no. Do I think that we can sit there and fix institutionalized racism and sexism?
I don't think there's such thing as institutionalized.
I definitely think there is.
Not institutionalized. There's racism, yes, but there's I don't believe there's any
Okay,
institutionalized.
let's take out institutionalized. Let's say a deeply rooted culture of racism because of how you were raised, right? And it becomes like a pool. You're going to be around the people that think the same way that you do.
No, you know what though? I don't believe that because
Shawn,
where I grew up,
right,
was out in the boonies. Grew up around
tons of racist people.
Tons of racist people.
You're not going to be like everybody else. But guess what? Are you still over there? Are you doing the same stuff that they're doing? And do you relate yourself with them?
No.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is it's not what I believe saved me from that way of thinking. Was my grandmother who
right.
Everything was
The one
everybody
that refers
was
to people as colored, right?
well, yeah, but everybody's precious.
Right.
That was her thing. Is everybody's precious.
Yeah.
After that was sports. I've been playing organized sports since I'm 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm around people of different religions, races, body types, everything. So I've grown up my whole life with my friends being different from me.
Yeah.
And I didn't, you don't start. It's what they say, hate is taught.
Yeah.
I was never taught hate. I was so. But if you were to guess, okay, he grew up out in the woods, all dirt roads, running around in the woods, shooting bow and arrows, throwing axes,
Yeah.
shooting guns. People would have been like, "Oh, that guy's a redneck," and
Yeah.
he believes in lynching and hates black people and
Yeah.
hates all races and no, not at all.
Yeah.
I don't hate anybody.
Again,
I hate people. I don't hate groups of people.
I
hate a person, and I
Right.
don't even hate the person.
Yeah.
But I get aggravated and angry with individuals, not groups.
Right.
Unless you're a group that's
That's you. That's not everybody.
right. But not everybody, and nobody is like me, and not everybody's like everybody.
Right. Again, but you're always going to stick to around the people that are the same vibe that you put out. We hang around with mostly people that train in martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, whatever. Those are the people that we stick around. Mostly people that surf. Mostly people that listen to music or do this, that, and the other. Racist people are going to stick around to mostly racist people.
And that's to their detriment.
Right. Again,
But that's not the majority. I don't believe that's the majority of people.
I don't think it's a majority, but I think what happens is when you have people that are so opinionated in one way and they're so hard pressed on this single point and so many people agree and they push that same fact the same way, it's going to be a lot bigger than it is. And also, mind you, unfortunately, we're in a time where
Everybody's got
media
a voice.
over sensationalize anything. I could sit there and smack you on the back and it'd be up on TMZ as like, man gets slapped or gets knocked out in the back of the head. Like it's the way that we are. We
and the problem
stuff.
with that is like we talked about before the podcast started. I'm so out of the social media loop right now. For the last month, I've barely gone on it and looked at it at all, and it's. But it's because there's so much bullshit, and people are like things are taken as gospel because they heard it there. There's
people need something, but people need something to hold on to. People need to define themselves,
right?
Somehow.
But I forget what it's called. It some kind of effect or whatever. When the first thing you hear about an issue becomes the truth, and what you hold up to it.
Right.
So like the whole
you're just regurgitating a fact that you heard and you assume that it's
right,
true.
but it's the first one. So like just because we're on the issue is the in Arkansas, what was it called, or St. Louis, or was it Missouri? The hands up, don't shoot.
I think it was in. I think it was everywhere though. But hands up, don't shoot.
But
yeah.
the one that happened where they shot the guy.
Right.
And he was so what happened was that hands up, don't shoot became the mantra for this because supposedly that's what that guy said.
No, it wasn't what he said. It was a group of people protesting the fact that their community, which again, this would be like the black community, felt that this is like put their hands up instantly so cops don't shoot because they feel that right.
This is, or he didn't say it, but
he said, my hands are up, don't shoot.
My hands are up, don't shoot.
Right.
That was like that rumor.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom. No investigation, just everybody ran with that. That was the first thing they heard, and that's what.
Yeah, but that's going to happen anyway. Like,
right? No, but it's because of social media. Everything catches fire now on social media. Do you remember?
I agree that social media is the big part of it, but the fact is that people are going to take what's like best, what they can exploit the best, and run with it.
Well, it's because everybody wants to look like they're the good guy.
No, everybody wants to look like the victim.
The victim or the good guy.
Yeah.
Like
social justice
warriors.
Yeah.
But what happened to these people that were protesting that Coney guy in 2012?
Oh, that guy was like fucking
Coney 2012.
Yeah. But that was
guy's still in power.
No, I think he was like had already been like arrested and stuff like that.
But look, no, I don't think so. We'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
But that made like it went up like a rocket. When was the last time you heard somebody talk about Coney?
Well, you know how that one ended. The guy that was the head of that whole fucking movement, the whole business for like to get rid of Coney, he was the one that ended up jacking off on the corner in San Diego. He just took his pants down and was just out of his mind, just beating off, like busting a nut on the street corner. They made fun of him on South Park.
Speaking of which, today's the last day. No Nut November.
I lost that a long time ago. No, man. Like, look, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't take sides in this. I take it in the fact of I'm looking at it as a step in humanity of I can understand why everybody's offended in one way or another, and I see their point of view and I get it.
I'm not saying I don't.
Right, no.
I'm not saying I don't
but
get
the
it.
fact is again, this guy felt like he needed to make a statement, and he did. It pissed off everybody so bad, but instead of trying to understand why the fuck he did it and have an educated conversation or an educated debate, whether they agree with it or not, they twisted it into something totally different, which was not the subject. So again, it becomes where one side pushes the other side pushes back, and it keeps going back and forth to either the point where we come to like a middleman, or we get separated even more, and it becomes just noise. It just becomes noise.
But that's where we're at. We're at the noise level. And what's funny is you can make an argument for both sides, and I've heard compelling arguments for both sides.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean there's just like everything in life, there's not very much that's right and wrong. There's right up to a point, and there's wrong up to a point.
Yeah.
But there's not everything is 100% black and white. It's not like that.
Here's the thing. Again, I don't feel that his goal was to piss off the military, armed forces,
no,
whatever.
I don't think so either.
They have every right to be upset.
But they have every right to
every right to be upset because they put their fucking like head on the line every time, and I praise them for it. I don't feel that that's what the intent was and what he's trying to say. If that's how they perceive it, I can't sit there and say anything. They have every right to talk shit and protest him just as much as he has every right to protest in reverse.
He wants to see it.
But
yeah.
It's still just at the end of the day, it's like nobody actually is paying attention to what
the problem is,
what the statement was. And so everything becomes one person gives him an award, the other person has a movement to promote the troops. The other one has this lives matter, and then cops like don't kill people. Cops do kill people. This, that, and the other. So the media just like, how can we spin this so it looks right towards what we're pushing?
Well, also what it comes down to is the media's like, well, what are we going to use to get people to watch so we can sell?
Well, how can we
time?
rile people up?
No, they want ad time. That's all they want. They want money.
Right. They just want to rile people up, man. That's why like I don't bother with it, because you know what? At the end of the day,
and there's no fair and unbiased news anymore.
No. Even Vice is biased.
Yeah, even Vice is biased. Yeah. Everybody is biased. Nobody has. And you know where I saw that? I was watching Vice one time, and they did this interview with a guy, and he's like this right-wing reporter, and he went to the White House and started saying, why aren't you talking about the violence that's being you guys are talking about this violence, how come you're not talking about the violence, the Trump supporters and blah blah blah. And he made this whole long speech, but the girl that interviewed him was so rude and disrespectful. But then when she went to somebody that was on the other side of that coin, she was 100% respectful.
Like blowing them and like fucking giving them all kinds of... It happens. It happens because that's her agenda or his agenda or whoever it was.
Right.
They probably like interviewed like Ben Shapiro or something.
No, it wasn't Ben. And here's the thing. I love Ben Shapiro.
Oh, he's great.
He's awesome. He
beats
everybody with facts and figures.
Yeah. Like whether I agree with him or not, like how he sees it, people hate him. Like I don't like praise the guy, but I give him credit for stating the facts and being level-headed.
And being level-headed, exactly.
Like, and I'd love to sit there and argue with him. He'd put me into like ground. Like I'm not gonna agree with everything he says or how he says it, but
and you shouldn't.
He's respectful. That's what I give like credit. He's respectful to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, man, the way that I see it is I could join these fucking groups and talk shit one way or another, or I can lead my life with the idea and the action of making a change every day, where it's like I try to do something nice, even something like the charity auction or this, that, and the other, or how I approach people. Like the way change happens isn't by fucking getting on the news and talking shit. It's by helping out your community. It's by sitting there and becoming a better person and try to help other people evolve with you, and you can evolve in different ways and look at things in different ways. But at the end of the day, if you evolve as a community, as a family, as a humankind, I think that solves everything more and more. Because you know what? I know that there's racism. I've had people be racist towards me. I've sat there and had people start racist conversations looking at me like I'm going to agree with them.
Because they think you're white.
Well, because they either think I'm white or like they think I'm just going to be like, yeah, like screw that black guy, huh? Like, no, man. That's you. Don't fucking think that I'm gonna agree with you. That's you. If that's what you want to think, well, fuck you. You're fucking just a homophobe or you're racist or whatever. That's on you, homie. Don't fucking pin me down with it too.
Yeah.
If you want to be stupid, go ahead. Like that's on you. If you don't like something, that's fine. You might not agree with how someone leads their life. It doesn't mean that you can't respect them, because unless they've killed somebody or they raped somebody or they've hurt somebody physically, you have no fucking right to sit there and say shit, like you just don't. So instead of talking shit, guess what? I'm the one that's going to go out there and do something to benefit the community, to show people like not everybody's like that.
And violence isn't the answer. Conversation is and always will be. The pen is always mightier than the sword.
I think it's actions are louder than words kind of thing,
Well, actions are, but words, coming full circle, words are the essence of everything that we have.
Yeah.
It's everything. We call this a chair.
It's
Why
just a sound.
Chair?
It's just a sound that you designated to that item.
This is a chair, and we have a social contract that says this is a chair.
Yeah.
What we need is we need a good, solid conversation that leads to new and
definitions
and changes.
Yeah.
Things that'll change.
But again, it still comes down to the fact of, instead of drawing a line in the sand, it's sitting there. It's like, why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? Like, make me understand why. Because as of right now, I'm not agreeing with you, and I don't like that you're doing that. That's it.
Well, then and it has to go both ways.
For sure.
Instead of starting off by drawing a line in the sand, which is what like Eminem did with that.
Oh yeah, with that, bro. That rap was so solid.
I thought it was terrible.
No, that rap was so good.
It's terrible.
So good.
He's so much better than that. The rhymes were not good.
It wasn't about rhyming. It was about putting a message out. It wasn't like he was trying to make a rap. It was him.
It was supposed to be a diss track, and
it was
a diss track.
It's a poem, is what it is. It's no different than if you went to an open mic night.
That's what it was. It was a spoken word more than. But he's not a poet. He's a.
What do you mean he's not a poet?
He's not.
Are we really gonna get into this argument this late into the game that rap isn't poetry?
No. I am not saying that rap isn't poetry. I'm saying his form of expression isn't and hasn't been spoken word as much as it's been flow.
Sean,
Flow.
Sean, you're pissing me off right now. You just took the last 2 hours and you just completely flushed them down the fucking drain with that statement. Are you kidding me
That's
right now?
It's called a mic drop.
Are you kidding me?
It's called a mic drop.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you seriously saying that you don't think that Eminem's got flow?
No, I'm saying he does. I'm saying that diss rap didn't have it.
You're talking about a rhyming scheme.
Rhyming, yes, and everything that fits together. There was things that were normally what he and
you were looking for a rhythmic pattern, like you wanted a
rhythmic pattern, but things normally his.
Okay, so it was a fucking haiku, Sean.
No,
get over
normally his work has got it's well thought out and it's it meshes all the it's got a very solid message all the way through.
Have you listened to the Eminem cipher?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. Go look up Eminem like cipher. I'm pretty sure it's called cipher, and it's almost the same setup where he's like in this big empty garage or like abandoned building, and he just freestyles for I want to say like 10 minutes, and it's just fucking just fire. It's absolute just fucking flaming torch or one after.
Do that.
You just didn't like that.
I just didn't like that, and not because of the message.
It's just the delivery.
It didn't sound good to my ears.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. And normally when Eminem does something, it sounds good to my ears.
It's tough getting old, huh?
No, because I liked all his other shit. That one just didn't hit to me. It didn't hit the Eminem mark.
Okay, that's cool.
Eminem's bar to me is
all right.
up here.
See, now that you explained it, I understand what you meant. I don't agree with it, but I understand what you meant.
I couldn't care less about the message. I was talking about.
Well, then you just defeated the whole purpose of what that was for.
No, I understand, but as soon as he diverted,
the message wasn't impactful towards you because of how he delivered it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But does it really take away from it if it was impactful for other people? I didn't
listen to it. After that, I kind of so like, you know when you go to the movies,
right?
And you immerse yourself in the movie, and when somebody takes out their cell phone and starts texting, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I was just in this reality,
right?
And now I'm out of it, and I'm watching you text, and now I'm angry at you because you just took me out of this.
You get distracted.
I got distracted, but from this immersion that I'm in. Normally, Eminem immerses me into his music, into his rhymes.
Okay,
but what he basically did with a lot of the choices of phrases he used was the equivalent of taking the phone out at the movies and started texting. It just threw me off where I started going.
I get what you're going for, like, but does that take away from the power of the message or the power that it was perceived by others?
Well, no, but however something is perceived by me, but like I didn't like
what could be meaningless to you could be life altering for somebody else.
I agree 100%.
So then so what you're telling me is you're wrong. Got it.
Just like jiu-jitsu, whatever is this to me has been life changing.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu has been a life-changing journey for me.
Okay, well,
And there's for other people.
go listen to Cypher. Go listen to Eminem Cypher. That shit was fucking
Well,
fire.
I'm not saying that one's not. I'm just saying the Trump diss track wasn't good to me.
I got you. I look, man.
I'm not saying that the message wasn't powerful. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying
it didn't click to you.
it didn't. The sound that it was making was not.
I hear you. Hey, man.
Yeah.
To each his own. That's why you have your ears and your opinions. That's all. All right, man. We're going to wrap this up. I got to go see a baby and grab a backdrop. Where can they follow you?
You can follow me everywhere on @GorillaBoyBJJ, and also @JitsPop, JITSPOP. I'm kind of inactive at the moment because I'm angry not really angry at the world. I'm just angry at the bullshit, but I'll get back there. So hit me up on the either the Twitter, the Instagram, or the Facebook.
Are we starting this podcast, this Jits Pop podcast, or what?
That's the plan.
All right.
The plan was to start it this week, but we might wait till next week because tomorrow's a bad day for Lee again. So we might wait till next week.
Okay, so hopefully we can get this guy to fucking start his own podcast so you guys can listen to it. In the meantime, be sure to follow Shawn. Guys, as always, want to thank everyone for tuning in. I love you all. Thank you, everyone that always asks me when the next episode is coming out and how much you enjoyed the other one. It really does mean a lot to me. I want to thank my sponsors once again: Choke Aloha, Exo Audio, Jit Soap Company, Jiu-Jitsu Soap Company, and again, thank you to Monkey Tape.
You would think Monkey Tape would want to sponsor Gorilla Boy.
But you don't even wear tape.
I know. You know, tape's for big babies.
Good. I'm a big ass baby. I'm a 6'4", 215-pound baby, and good for me. Because I fucking love that tape.
Tape's mate, but it's good tape. I've used it.
Yeah, no,
I've had to use it.
It's fucking awesome. I'm dreading the day that I have to use it to like fix like a bumper or something if I hit something. But no, thank you guys to them. Obviously, we're going to do another little shout out towards after all this for all the sponsors. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. You can always check me out on Instagram for the Jiu-Jitsu Radio Instagram. If not, check out Sonder Marketing, SONDER Marketing on Instagram for all the behind the scenes and photos I take. Thank you again to Fighters Only Magazine for being so... I don't even know what's the word.
The milestone?
No, just for being so like cool and using so much of my photography. Shout out to Tatami Fightwear. We got another photo shoot for Tatami coming up with Hobson Mora, finishing up with the one with Gilbert now. So shout out to Tatami and everyone that supports this podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Shawn Ambrosino for taking the time, jumping in on the podcast for 2.5 hours. We haven't hung out this much in a long time, so it's always fun to talk shit with Shawn and goof off. Thank you again to Temple Martial Arts for letting me come in and take over their office and just goof off. Now that I had a couple hours to kill today, so much fun. Tomorrow's gonna be cool when we do this little charity toy drive and photo shoot, so I can't wait. Hopefully you guys can come out to that. In the meantime, thank you again to my sponsors, Choke Aloha. Be sure to check out chokealoha.com and use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu Radio and get 10% off all your new little accessories, rash guards, and t-shirts that you pick up from them. They are an awesome company, and they've supported the podcast from day one. I don't make a lot of money, but a little money that I do make usually ends up going to Choke Aloha. So save some money when you go. Get yourself some stuff for the holidays or some stocking stuffers for your fellow training partners. Go to Jiu-Jitsu Radio use Jiu-Jitsu Radio as your promo code. Get 10% off at chokealoha.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Exo Audio. Use the promo code JJR10. at exoaudio.net. That's EXOAUDIO.net. And get 10% off. Pick up some sound buds. Pick up a juice card battery for your phone so you don't end up getting stranded and you can't tell your girlfriend any more BS lies about, oh, my phone died. Missed your call. Sorry, babe. Not going to work anymore. But pick yourself up one and get a discount. Also, big thank you to Jiu-Jitsu Soap Company. Go to the jujitsusoapco.com. Get 10% off when you use JJ Radio at the checkout. Get some sexy soap. Smell delicious when you roll and when you're done rolling. I'm hoping that they make some good smelling ghee washing soap because it'd be great. They're making some great products and I love the stuff. Honestly, it's definitely actually I think they have a good sale going on right now. I think you get like 25 bars of soap for $25. So you might as well go use the promo code, get an extra 10% off, and you are golden. Stay golden, pony boy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you get a chance, if you really like this podcast, please subscribe to it on iTunes, on SoundCloud, or on Stitcher, whichever is best for you, even on YouTube. And if you feel like it was good enough to share it with your friends, please share it. If not, I'm not going to twist your arm, not unless we decide to start rolling. But I appreciate all the support. Please share the podcast. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. Jiu-Jitsu Radio is the podcast one, or you can follow my work one, Sonder Marketing, SONDER Marketing, and you'll get to see a lot of cool stuff. You'll get to see the article that just came out on Fighters Only magazine with some of my photos along with my mentor, Ryan Loco. Be sure to follow Ryan Loco on Instagram as well. He's an amazing photographer. He does so much great work, and I'm just really thankful that I get to call him a friend. And other than that, man, thank you guys so much. The overwhelming peer pressure of getting back into it definitely means a lot to me. I've been busy the past couple of months, and it's been tough for a few weeks. I got to get my bills paid too, but I do this all out of love. So thank you guys for all your support, and I'll catch you next time.